and welcome back to day 2 here at the HSBC UK National Track Championships. Now, we've had a packed day of racing, and indeed yesterday as well, but it doesn't stop there because we're live once again all evening and throughout tomorrow from the Manchester National Cycling Centre. And when these championship races come to a close, it doesn't end there either, because in April this year it will play host to the BMX UCI Supercross World Cup. And if you've not watched BMX racing before, here's a taste of what's to come.
Now there comes a time when it's time to roll. And if you don't want to move, you can lose your soul. You can't sit back being comfortable. You're gonna have to answer yes or no. We need to see what you really believe. Are you down for the cause? Are you willing to bleed? If so, then start drawing the spine. Hop up in the flow, get off the sideline. Cause it's time.
And if there's anything else you want to find out about the world of cycling, head to the website at britishcycling.org.uk. Now, as I mentioned before, we are live and interactive tonight and tomorrow from here at the Manchester National Cycling Centre. So we want to hear from you. We want your comments, questions and photos across social media. Just make sure you use the hashtag #TrackChamps. Well, as you can see behind me, riders on the track warming up. The race action is going to get underway very shortly. So for now, let's head to the commentary box.
Thank you, Rebecca, and welcome to session 4 of the National Track Champs here in Manchester. Saturday evening, and we've really had some exciting racing so far, starting on Thursday evening with the female pursuit qualifying. 2 sessions yesterday and a long session this morning. A lot of these riders here very early, and the first event will be the men's sprints qualifying this morning at 9 o'clock, and we are at the semi-final stage. We'll also have the female Keirin race, which is a motor-paced event for half of the 6 laps, the men's kilo. Before we move on to the female scratch race, the men's points, so plenty of fast action to come later on this evening. So the atmosphere building, always a great atmosphere here in the home of British cycling in Manchester. We've had world champions, Olympic champions, new British champions also. We'll have some medal ceremonies as we go along. So the sprint will be the first event up. And in the sprints qualifying, Joe Truman was fastest. 2 riders went actually under 10 seconds. The Olympic champion Jason Kenny and Joe Truman. And in the quarter finals, all the riders that have got into the semi-final went through 2-0. So they flew through their matches and went through to the semi-final. So before we move on to the first event, let's have a look at the highlights from earlier today. They were some of the highlights from the session this morning, the third session. We're now just waiting to begin the fourth session. Sprinters' bikes in the infield just been deemed by the commissaires as race fit, so we'll soon be underway. But the men's sprint down to the semi-finals. In Heat 1 we'll see Joe Truman against Hamish Turnbull. And Hamish Turnbull last year was in fourth place.
The sprint is a classic short distance event in which two riders cover 3 laps of the track. Qualification consists of flying start 200 metres time trial. The time trial is followed by knockout heats, fastest versus slowest. From the quarter-finals, the riders race best of 3 heats. Sprint racing is all about the tactics. Riders will sometimes come to a standstill in an effort to make their opponent take the lead, which is the least advantageous position before the final sprint to the finish.
So, fast and furious racing is expected in the first heat for the semi-final, about to start here in Manchester. Don't forget, you can join us. Hashtag Track Champs. Send in your pictures on social media. The men's sprint, 3 laps of the track. This will be a best of 3, with the winner going through to the final. So 2 semi-finals, Joseph Truman against Hamish Turnbull. Just coming on to the blue in the track centre, and they will line up for their first match. And then in the second semi-final, Jason Kenny, the Olympic champion, against ex-rugby player Alex Pratt. And Alex Pratt third in 2018. The defending champion Jack Carlin, a non-starter. So we're going to see a new national champion in the men's team sprint. So in the purple, Hamish Turnbull from Slingshot, and in the green of team inspired Joe Truman. And Joe Truman already a national champion yesterday in the team sprint. So we really are into the business end of the male sprinting, with some fantastic sprinting yesterday from the females. 2 semi-finals going to 3 matches. So what are we going to see here? The faster man being Truman. Can Hamish Turnbull say something? So Truman in the green, in the purple Turnbull. Turnbull leads away. And this is a slow start. He knows he's up against a faster man. And Turnbull, I think, will want to try and get Truman in front. And that might be his tactic. So he could try and possibly surprise the faster rider. So Turnbull just at the bottom of the track. Truman just keeping some height, constantly watching his Turnbull. They start to wind things up. Truman's trying to push. He wants to try and get Turnbull to commit. He's not committing at the moment. But down at the bottom, Truman goes high. He goes for height. He uses the height of the banking. Turnbull now is committed, but you can just see getting the heights down the back straight. Truman straight over the top, round the long way. A fight from Turnbull, but it's a first match to Truman. It looked easy in the end, and Turnbull will have to go back and think how he can beat this faster man. And you could see that's down the finishing straight on the penultimate lap there. The Truman used the height of the banking to great advantage, and Joseph Truman a 10.637. So he used the advantage into the slipstream and straight past in the back straight. And Turnbull had no answer to that. So Turnbull will have to go away and try and think how he can beat Joseph Truman. So on to heat 2, semi-final. Olympic champion Jason Kenny against Alex Pratt of Blackline, third last year in this competition. So Kenny, the smaller of the two in the inside in the black helmet. The reigning Olympic champion always rises to the occasion. He can ride all day on this track. Looking behind him, very experienced rider is Jason. I think Spratt, with his power, might want to try and take this one from the front and force Jason Kenny to try and come over the top. But Spratt, for the time being, happy to sit behind Kenny, possibly looking for the element of surprise. So Jason Kenny has his eyes on Spratt, walking pace round the Côte d'Azur. So this is a slow and cagey affair between Kenny and Spratt. So the Olympic champion Jason Kenny giving plenty of respect to Alex Spratt, and Alex Pratt decides he's not one to mess around. He might not have the experience of Jason Kenny, but he certainly looks as if he's got the power. Kenny's pushing him, and Spratt, he wants to try and hold him up, but Jason Kenny has that height, and he's going to use that height. Spratt stays up, he stays up, and both of them using the height of the track. They drop down. Spratt on his way. Jason Kenny has a lot to do here, up the back straight into the slipstream. Can Spratt hold on? Can he hold off the Olympic champion? It's going to be a close one. Oh, and that will go to a photo. It did look as if Jason Kenny just got that one, but that was close in the end. A close call, so we're waiting confirmation on that. But I tell you what, Spratt played that well. He stayed up. He never committed himself. He used the height of the banking and dropped down. Powered away. We did say he was a powerful sprinter, forcing Jason Kenny to go round a long way. We can just see as we come up here. Yep, Jason Kenny takes that by less than half a wheel. Just got it on the throw. So Jason Kenny goes 1-0 up, but that was close. A good ride and good tactics there from Alex Spratt. He never dived down early. He kept up, both of them using the height of the banking to the advantage and really pushed the Olympic champion. So Joe Truman and Jason Kenny go 1-0 up against their fellow semi-finalists. And that brings us on to the female Keirin, round 1. We have 3 heats. So we're on to the female Keirin, and we've just got a little taster to tell you what's expected here.
The Keirin originated in Japan. It is a race for up to 7 riders. The Derny is a powered bicycle which leads the riders around the track for 750 metres or 3 laps. The speed of the Derny builds from 30 km an hour in the first lap to 50 km an hour when leaving the track on the home straight. After 750 metres, the Derny pulls off the track to let the riders sprint for the last 750 metres or 3 laps for the win. The Keirin is the no-holds-barred event, sure to see some fast-paced and frantic action.
So the female Keirin in the first heat, Emily Capewell, Amelia Coombs, Stephanie Hall, Natalie Hunter, Joanna Smith and Isabel Whiteley. The bike will come around and they'll join the back of the bike in the inside. So the powered bike will ride round just inside that sprinter's red line. They will line up behind. So for the women, it wind up from 25 kilometres an hour to 45 kilometres an hour before peeling off in the home straight with 3 laps to go. Then it will be the first 3 across the line, and the others will go on to another chance to call it a repechage. So 6 riders. So the top 2 going through. So the Derny winding it up. We have Natalie Hunter just sitting there behind the Derny. So 3 laps to go now. No one fully committed. Capewell, the national sprint champion, she won that yesterday. Starting to get themselves into position. 2 to go now. In the bottom of the track, Emily Combs. So Emily Combs for VC Laundress on her hip, coming over the top now. We're starting to see Emily Capewell. Capewell taking prime position here. She pushes hard. She wants to guarantee getting in the top 2, but it's a big push now from Joanna Smith. So Joanna Smith's got this one. Emily Capewell just hanging on for second. So a good first Keirin event there, and 1 for Joanna Smith from Thanet Road Club, leaving the rest behind. And Emily Capewell getting up there for second place. So that's your top 2. So Joanna Smith, Emily Capewell, Amelia Coombs, Isabel Whiteley, Stephanie Hall and Natalie Hunter are your top 6. So first and second to the semi-final, and losers to the repechage. So both Joanna Smith and Emily Capewell through to the next rounds. The others will have to fight it out in the repechage if they want to come back. So straight on to heat 2, sorry. Another 6 riders. Yuanda Adesida from SES Racing, Jessica Crampton, the defending champion, Anne-May Elliott from Newport Phoenix CC, Kelsey Fuss from VC Londres, Sophie Langford from Team Velotech, and Naomi Lovesey DiMaccio. So again, the moto will be in the back straight. It will come round to the home straight. The riders will pick it up right behind it. This man here will take the 6 riders from roughly 25 kilometers an hour up to 45 kilometers an hour before releasing them with 3 laps to go in the home straight, and then they'll battle it out. First 2 to qualify. The rest will go into a repechage where they'll have to fight again to move through to the next rounds. So ideally you want to be in the top 2 for less effort. And here we go. No real fight for the bike, but it's Kelsey Fuss of VC Londres. It takes it up. So just settling down, getting the draft behind the moto. And Jessica Crampton in this heat for Sports City Velo, the reigning champion. So just winding it up ever so slowly. Jessica Crampton in the green and white at the back. If you want to get into the top 2, she starts to move up the upside. She's moving down the outsides in the wind a little bit. It's a bit of an effort as the Derny peels off. She doesn't want to mess around. Takes it up from the front. 2.5 laps to go. She's just cruising at the moment, looking behind, not totally committing. Coming up to 2 laps to go. Adesida starting to come up into 3rd place, but Kelsey Fuss still in there in 2nd place. That's your top 2 for the time being. Movement over the top with Jessica Crampton, who's going to qualify here. Just an acceleration, but a late push by Sophie Langford from Velotech. So Sophie Langford and Jessica Crampton, the top 2 here. Just hanging on to 3rd place is Kelsey Fuss. So it's going to be Crampton from Langford, the top 2 to go through, and the others will have to wait and try again in the repechage. So a commanding performance from Jessica Crampton there from Sports City Velo, the defending champion. She looks strong. Straight through into the semi-final now. So 4 riders guaranteed a place in the semi-final. A big push by Sophie Langford from Velotech, but she secured her place in the semi-final together with Jessica Crampton. So Jessica Crampton looking good. So confirmation, Jessica Crampton 12.682, Sophie Langford are the 2 that qualify. Kelsey Fuss, Annie May Elliott, Yuanda Asida Naomi loves it. So into heat 3. The Derny will sit in the back straight until all 6 riders are positioned on the start line. We have Lauren Bell, Ellie Coster, Emma Finnegan, Rebecca Howard, Serena Nat and Charlotte Robinson. So they're just getting positioned. Just moving into their position now. Some of the riders out of position, trying to hold them up. And Team Wales represented here are Ellie Coster, just moving into her position. So 6 laps. The Derny will come round, start to gather momentum. And here we go. On to the back. And it's Lauren Bell from RPM. The dark blue takes the prime spots. So Lauren Bell, Ellie Coster, Emma Finnegan, Rebecca Howard, Serena Nat and Charlotte Robinson. 2 to go through, the rest into the repechage, which is another round for the top 2. We'll go into the semi-final to join the winners. So for some it's another chance. So slowly building up. The Derny staying just inside that sprinter's red line. We'll be pulling off now. 3 laps to go. And they're up to about 45 kilometres an hour. Movement at the back from Charlotte Robinson. Team Wales, Ellie Coster at the back also, just coming down the outside. You don't want to be blocked in the Keirin. But it's still Lauren Bell holding the pole position. Coster just behind for Team Wales. Out in the outside, going the long way around is Robinson. A lot of energy to do that. Coming down to the bell, and it's still Lauren Bell at the front, Coster, and here comes Robinson down the outside. Top 2 going through. Coster holding her up for Team Wales, down the back straight. And over the top, it's a 3-way race, but Coster from Wales doing a good ride here, holding on, but over the top comes Emma Finnegan from Cycling Team On Form to steal that 2nd place. But a good round there for Ellie Coster, Team Wales. She looked in control. Big effort down the back straight. So it's Ellie Coster, Emma Finnegan, Charlotte Robinson, Serena Nat, Lauren Bell and Rebecca Howard is the order. So see the highlights here. And it's Lauren Bell that wanted pole position. But in the end paid for it, paid for the efforts. Coster came over the top and took that one for Team Wales. So here we see it again. Coming down to the finish. A late effort on the outside there by Emma Finnegan for Cycling Team On Form. So we know the 6 riders going through to the semi-finals, but we've got repechage coming up. But first, before that, we will go straight into the men's kilo. So next event up will be the men's kilometre time trial, straight final. In an event that was made famous in British cycling by Sir Chris Hoy. They decided to leave it out the Olympics and he switched over to sprinting. And the rest is history. So exciting females Keirin racing. Now we'll get the start gate out for the men's kilo. So just before we get the first riders out for the men's kilo, let's have a look at what's involved here.
The time trial is a pure race against the clock, where riders aim to record the fastest time over a specified distance from a standing start. Riders are locked into a starting gate, which is released after a countdown of 50 seconds. The quickest 8 riders qualify for the finals, in which the rider with the fastest time wins. In the event of a false start, the rider is permitted another start. Only 2 starts are allowed. In the time trial, men compete over a distance of 1 kilometre and women compete over 500 metres.
So the men's kilo up next. An event made famous by Sir Chris Hoy. Wasn't happy when it was left out the Olympic programme, but then moved into track sprinting. So just looking at last year's results, the winner was Joe Truman, and he's concentrating this year on the sprints. He's through to the semi-final, so we will have a new champion. So we have 9 riders looking to gain the British title, and of these riders, Matt Rotherham probably the best placed in last year's 4th, 101.948, and Matt Rotherham, a pilot in paracycling. So plenty of talent. So 9 riders fighting it out for gold, silver and bronze. And looking at the records book, Chris Hoy still holds the record for the 1 kilometre time trial. He went to altitude and recorded 58.880 at La Paz in Bolivia way back in 2007, and then at sea level 10711 at the Olympic Games in Athens, and he had to set that time to win. So 2 laps to go for the first rider, Atiba Keirin for SES Racing, and he'll set the benchmark time. So 9 riders in this kilo final, starting to tire up tie up ever so slightly. It gets the bell. So down the back straight he goes. Atiba Keirin from SES Racing coming down the finishing straight, noticeably slightly slower, and he's going to stop the clock in 106.832. So that's the benchmark. And the effort here in the kilo is super hard. You can really go into oxygen debts in the final lap. Averaged 58.866, averaging in miles per hour 33.471. So a strong performance there by Atiba. 8 more riders still to come. And next up will be Michael Gill, the University of Nottingham. So very much suited to the power riders. Going into the reds pretty much in the last half lap. And a very difficult discipline, this kilo. Anybody that's ridden it will be coughing for the next hour of sheer effort. So inside 30 seconds for Michael Gill from the University of Nottingham. And off he goes. Big start, big push, big gear. And off he goes, up to speed as quick as he can. And it's about maintaining that the whole way through the ride. Already slower, 1.5 seconds. So that's a lot to lose in the start. But it was a big gear, he had to get going. And can he carry that momentum through? Split just coming up, just over 2 seconds down now. So a lot to do now for Michael Gill. Not really built for a big powerful kilo rider. You see some of them coming up a bit later. 1.347. So is he going to beat the time of Atiba? The bell rings. And has he got anything left in the tank? Just rises up ever so slowly to that red sprinters line. And that will lose him a fraction of a second, 0.4. So he's getting faster. But is he doing enough to beat Atiba? And he goes first by 0.160, 16672. So a bit slower in the start was Michael Gill. But he should shaved off 0.160 of a second from Atiba Keirin from SES Racing. So although a slower start, he powered through all the way to the end. So next up on the start gates will be Tiago Fuego of Strada Sport.
The third rider on track. Let's make you feel welcome, Manchester, from Strada Sport, Tiago Fuego.
10 seconds to go for Tiago Fugo, Strada Sports. And off he goes, powering away. Looks like a faster start for Tiago. Out the saddle the whole way, down the back straight, into the triathlon bars as quick as possible. Try and keep low. He just pops above that red line. He's losing a bit of time there. He needs to try and keep as low as possible on that black line. Quickest way around the track, but already up by 0.06 of a second. So riding well. And now moves further away, 1.128. So getting slower. A good start by Tiago Fugo. It looks to be physically losing speed now. Down the back straight, you can just see, looking down, not as composed. Further down, 3 seconds. So he's going to be well outside a 1.6 and finishes with a time of a 1:10.993. Good enough for third out of 3 for the time being. So a hard effort here for everybody that rides the kilo. So the next rider in the start gate, as you see, the recap, and Tiago Fugo started well, but speed tailed off all the way to the finish. To finish with a 1:10, and dying all the way towards the line. So in the start gates, we have Tad Scubala from Leicestershire Road Club. Just getting prepared, getting his feet into the pedals. And this is one of the hardest events here, one of the shortest, but one of the hardest events. So the 1 kilometre time trial, 4 laps of the track. No second bites at the cherry. Straight off final. The fastest wins. Off he goes. Big push. And he's underway. I'll soon get the first splits. You need a fast start, and already he's over 1 second up. Just rises high above the bank in there though. Still 1.6, so riding well. So can he build on this lead? 1.7, so still riding well. Comes into 2 laps to go, so far so good. 1.5 seconds quicker than the previous 3 riders. 1.2 now, so just starting to tie up ever so slightly. You can see him rocking and rolling for the effort. 0.6 with 1 lap to go. Can he hold on to this momentum? You can just see he's physically tiring. Going into the red, getting very close. 0.1, tiring all the way to the line. He needs to keep pushing. Oh, just dying towards the end. 1.07888.
quickest. 5 riders to go.
So we've had 4 riders. The best is still Michael Gill from the University of Nottingham with a 16172. And next up will be Finn Harrod, Team Highlander. So just getting his bike into the start gate, the all important. So Finn Harrod will be the next rider. Just having a slight delay in setting up the bike in the start gates. Have to get things spot on. And finally, the bike is secure. It's now down to Finn Harrod. What can he do? Certainly looks as if he's got the build. Can he convert it into the speed? So 30 seconds to start. Nice and relaxed. Just sucking in the oxygen. It's a super hard effort, this. Total concentration now, 10 seconds. And off he goes. A big gear, trying to get it up to speed is always the problem. So out the saddle, into the back straight. He'll be soon down into the triathlon position, onto those bars. Looks like a good start. 1.142, so looking good at the time being. But we've seen this before. Fast start, tying up towards the end, 1.371. So he's riding well. Still on top of it, 1.424. So he's still on top of the gear, pushing hard. This time round will be 1 lap to go. He's still 1.247 up, so riding well and looking strong. Starting to tire now, up on the track above that red line, but still 1 second up. This is going to be the fastest time. Here he goes down the finishing straight. 1.6060, 0.612 quicker than Michael Gill. So a good effort there. He's happy with that one. So just looking at the scoreboard, 1.06060 is the time given. And you can see him tying up all the way towards the end, hitting the sponge. Rising high on the banking. Probably seeing stars as he came down the finishing straight there. But a good effort from Finn Harrod. So the top 3, Finn Harrod, Michael Gill and Atiba Keirin. So a generous applause for Finn Harrod from Team Highlander. But next up will be Callum Stewart from Blackline. Bike ready. Straight on. Looks like he's ready to go. Wants to get this over with. So Callum Stewart already been involved in these championships in the team sprint. Ten seconds to go. And there he goes, powers away, pushes that gear round, hits a sponge, pushes him up slightly up the track, big effort down the back straight, still out the saddle, he sits down, comes round onto the straight, into the triathlon position, there he goes, fast start at 0.9 up, so riding well, down the back straight again, 1 second up. Still riding well, being encouraged now by his coach, still at 9.60, faster, so still riding well, riding slightly high on the track, head goes down a little, losing a bit of a time, 0.8, so still pushing hard, 1 lap to go, getting encouraged by his coach at the side, 0.644 up, tying up towards the end, this one's going to be a close one, can he pull this off, riding high on the track, losing momentum, coming down the finish, it's going to be a close one, 105.825. So 1.5825 by Callum Stewart there. Really tied up towards the end. So 3 riders still to come now. Next up is Dan Bigham from Hoob, a Watt Bike Test Team. Then we see his teammate Jonathan Whale. Last man off would be Matt Rotheringham from Sports City Velo. So a new team, Hoob, a Watt Bike Test Team, been around the last couple of years. Very impressive. Already a national championship yesterday with John Archibald. 10 seconds to go for Dan Bigham. And off he goes. It's always difficult to watch them start this 1 kilometre time trial. The effort, the power it goes in, the torque it goes through the bike, out the saddle the whole way, into the banking, straight into the triathlon position, onto the aero bars, pushing hard, and he's slightly up, so pushing hard again, 0.5 of a second down, so he needs to keep the speed up. More of a pursuiter. He's coming back though, 0.087. So a bit of a slower start, but gaining momentum now. He's up by 0.652. So he's riding faster. 1 lap to go, and you can see the speed of him over 1.5 seconds. So this is looking good. A bit of a slower start, playing to his strengths, but he's certainly keeping his speed up. 2.6. This is going to be the fastest time as Dan Bigham comes up to stop the clock at 101.934. Wow, that's the fastest by about 4 seconds. It's an average speed of 58.126 kilometres an hour. So a great effort there by Dan Bingham. As we see him start, slightly slower start than others, but gathered momentum all the way through his kilometre rides. Perfect play to his strengths and rides a great time for 101.934. When you consider last year he finished in 6th place with a 101.992, so slightly quicker. So Dan Bingham, the leader at the moment, guaranteed a medal, but what colour will that medal be? So Jonathan Weil, his teammate in the start gate for Hub Wattbike test team. So already this team guaranteed to be handed a medal out at the end. A magnificent ride there by Dan Bingham. Almost identical to the ride he pulled off last year to get 6th, but this year he'll be on the podium for sure. So what can Jonathan Weil do? 10 seconds. So a hard push, a lot of body movement to get on top of this gear, and I would think like Dan Bingham might not have the fastest start, but certainly will come through towards the end. But no, he's up 0.3, so right away he set off fastest, still 0.231, so riding better than Dan Bingham so far. Can he keep this momentum up? 0.1 now, so the speed just slipping off ever so slightly. 0.037, so it's in the balance coming up to the last lap now. How much speed has he got left? He's still up slightly now. So with 1 lap to go, he's 1:15 in the negative. So he's actually slowing. So I don't think it's going to be the winning time, but a good time here by Jonathan Weil. He finishes actually with a time of 1:01.841. So by 0.93, so 900ths of a second in the end. So actually had something left in the tank to pick it up and steal that first place away from his teammates. So the Hub Wattbike test team sitting first and second with 1 rider to go. So a fantastic time there by Jonathan Weil. 1.1841. Just when we thought it was going the other way, he managed to pull it out the bag. Hard effort that. He started fastest, slowed a little bit, but gained that momentum in the last lap and hung on just. So the Hub Wattbike test team lying first and second. Jonathan Weil, Daniel Bingham, both guaranteed a medal. But what colour is it going to be? Matt Rotheringham up next, Sport City Velo. And last year did a 1:01.948. Good enough for 4th place. So this is going to be a close one. So what can Matt Rotheringham do? Certainly means business. Short, stocky, powerful, and I think expecting a quick start, so he could be up at the start, but will he maintain the speeds through to the last lap? And off he goes. A big, powerful start, as expected, using that power he's got. Powering away down the back straight. This is looking exceptional. And he's already 0.8 up, as expected. That's what we're talking about. Still, I was just about to say in the bars, but now goes into that triathlon position. In the aero bars, 1.7 up, so riding well. The pilots in paracycling, obviously all that extra training, still up 1.8. This is going to be a super ride here. Are we going to see something special? 1.8 up, 1 lap to go. He's getting plenty of encouragement. What can Matt Rotheringham do now? Starting to tie up ever so slightly in the back straight, but still maintaining that power. 1 second up. Could this be a 1-0 all the way to the line? And he's going to stop the clock. 1:01.559. What a super effort there by Matt Rotheringham. And Matt, with a time of 1:01.559, becomes the new national kilometre champion. So a super effort there by Matt Rotheringham. So unfortunately for the Hoob Wattbike test team, they'll have to settle for silver and bronze. But it was this man here, set alight the first couple of laps, started to die a little bit towards the end as expected, but held enough to take the national title. So there you have it. Matt Rotheringham confirmed 1:01.559. Second will be Jonathan Whale, 1:01.841. And Dan Bingham, 1:01.934. 3 super times. So 3 riders head and shoulders above everybody else. So after that excitement, we will move on again to the sprint semi-final, match B, after everybody gets their breath back. So just a reminder, join the fun here, if you can call it fun. Might be a grimace, but I reckon Matt Rotheringham is smiling now. So get involved, send us your pictures on social media, no matter where you are. #TrackChamps. Plenty of people doing it in the velodrome tonight. Why don't you do it from home? What are you doing this Saturday? Where are you watching? It's great to have your company on Facebook Live. Some great racing still to come. We just witnessed 3 super times in a kilometre. And next up will be the next match of the male sprints. And on to the female Keirin repechage. We'll see the kilo riders up on the medal ceremony. So it's not often you get to win an individual national championship, and he pilots Neil Fackey, but you can just see now what it means to Matt Rotheringham. Super hard effort this kilo, and appreciative crowds. You could say this man is super happy. Faster than last year. Punching that big chest of his. Super nice guy as well. And pilots Neil Fackey. So all that tandem work in paracycling doing him good. Nice to see him win an individual British Championship. So just waiting for the next match in the sprint between Joseph Truman and Hamish Turnbull. It's 1-0 up to Joseph Truman, fastest in the qualifying event. So we've seen some great action here, but for you of you at home with your feet up, let's see what the riders see when they're heading around this track.
First thing anyone that walks into this velodrome tends to notice first is the banking and just how steep it is. As you can see with us stood here, that's a whopping gradient of 42 degrees. And in fact, Manchester Velodrome was resurfaced just last year and a lot of work went into it.
Yeah, so April last year, this amazing track was resurfaced. It takes 60,000 metres of Siberian spruce to make a track like this, over 200,000 nails as well, all hand punched.
It's absolutely incredible, the work that goes in behind the scenes here. And if you look to the bottom of the track here where I'm stood, this black line is so crucial, especially when the riders are taking on the timed events like the individual pursuit, like the team pursuit. Tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, so you want to hit that 250 metre line. That's the shortest route around the track. And you'll see on the timed events we put the little sand blocks out as well. If you move just 10 boards up from that black line, you're travelling an extra 1.2 metres every lap. So you want to keep as low as possible and keep this track as short as possible.
Yeah, well, I certainly would, that's for sure. Now, a lot of people take to these boards each and every year. Tell us some facts about that.
Yeah, so if you take all the riders that come here for training sessions, all the track leagues, all these nationals and World Cups and World Championships and that sort of thing, we've worked out that it's roughly 13.1 million laps of this velodrome are done every year.
Absolutely incredible. And a few facts and figures to think about as the riders battle it out over the weekend at the HSBC UK National Track Championships.
So next up is the second match of the semi-final of the sprints competition. We've already seen Joe Truman and Hamish Turnbull fight it out in the first match, which went to Joe Truman. And the other semi-final, Jason Kenny goes one up against Alex Spratt. So plenty of action still to come. So before they hit the track, let's see what a sprint is all about.
The sprint is a classic short distance event in which two riders cover 3 laps of the track. Qualification consists of flying start 200 metres time trial. The time trial is followed by knockout heats, fastest versus slowest. From the quarter-finals, the riders race best of 3 heats. Sprint racing is all about the tactics. Riders will sometimes come to a standstill in an effort to make their opponent take the lead, which is the least advantageous position before the final sprint to the finish.
So back to the men's sprint semi-final, match 2. Joseph Truman already 1-0 up. It's the rider in the green on the outside. In the purple, Hamish Turnbull has got it all to do, finished 4th last year, so was in this position 12 months ago. Made it into the top 4, into the semi-final. Up against the fastest man in qualifying, 9.8. Joe Truman did this morning. So Truman using the banking and the slipstream to move past Hamish Turnbull. So Hamish Turnbull has to try something else, and I think he wants to try the element of surprise this time. Stay behind Truman. Truman definitely has the speeds, has the power, but can Hamish Turnbull play tactics to his advantage? Hamish zigzagging around, trying to go the surprise. That's what we expected. Down the back straight, over the top. So man against man, but I think Truman is going to use the slipstream of Turnbull. Again, he just bobs up the banking there, and you think that Truman could have this into the slipstream, Slingshots past, up alongside, into the finishing straight. And Truman just too strong for Turnbull. So Joe Truman will take this one into the final. Unfortunately, Turnbull will have to go into the bronze medal ride-off. But just stay with us. The next match-up between Jason Kenny and Alex Pratt up.
To the good, Jason Kenny.
So Jason Kenny on the outside, Alex Spratt on the inside in the white helmet. And Alex Spratt, if he wants to stay in this competition and go for the gold medal, he needs to win this one, but he's up against it. The current Olympic champion. So Spratt at the front, Kenny at the back. It's closely fought in the first match, only about less than half a wheel in it. Spratt remaining at the front. I think that's what you want to be. You want to lead this one. Jason Kenny happy to sit behind the bigger rider as he comes up. He's looking for the element of surprise. He gains momentum. He keeps up. Spratt push up. He needs to push up and use the advantage. He does that. Dives down now into that sprint position. Jason Kenny has to come from behind again, up the back straight into the slipstream. Has Jason Kenny got enough? It looks as if he has. He comes round the top. Another close one. Oh, another photo finish. So we'll have to wait for this one. But Jason Kenny thinks he's got that. Hard to see from this point, but 10.433. So a good effort. So Jason Kenny, you just see from the replay, Spratt doing well, he did all he could, but Jason Kenny just carrying that momentum and that experience. All about the throw here, and again a close one, only about a tire's width there, but Jason Kenny knew he got that one. But great effort there from Alex Spratt. If he'd learned to throw that bike, he might be going for another match here, taking it to a decider. But Jason Kenny now up against Joe Truman, his teammate in the team sprint, into the final. Alex Spratt and Hamish Turnbull will have to fight it out for the bronze medal, and that will come up later on. So some fantastic sprinting there by the top four, but there can only be two winners going into the final for gold and silver. So don't forget, send us your pictures, Instagram, Twitter, #TrackChamps. Get involved with the HSBC British National Track Champs here in Manchester. Don't be shy. Let's see what you look like, and show us where you're watching. A really appreciative crowd here in Manchester. I hope you're enjoying the coverage at home via Facebook Live. Some great sprinting we've just seen. Talking about sprinting, we're going to see some more in the female category of the Keirin, and this is the repechage. So talking about getting involved here, whether you're at home or in the crowds. I believe Rebecca has been out in the crowds tonight here in Manchester.
Now, of course, there's plenty more race action coming up, and we are loving your photos and comments coming in, and we will endeavour to answer any questions as well, and Dave and Marty up in the commentary box will be able to do that as well. So keep using that hashtag Track Champs throughout this evening and get live and interactive with us. We've got plenty more coming up, but for now, let's head back up to that commentary box.
Looks like Rebecca's having a good time, but it's all systems go here in the repechage. This is at repechage 1. You get Yolanda Adesida, Emily Combs, Anne May Elliott, Rebecca Howard, Natalie Hunter and Serena Nat. So just to remind you, in the back straight you can see the Derny. The Derny will come round, pick up the riders, and for the females they'll go from 25 kilometres an hour to 45 kilometres an hour, 6 laps of the track. So with 3 to go in the home straight, the Derny will pull off, and then the racers will race all the way to the finish. So this is a repechage. So the top 2 guaranteed to go through. So a second chance. They weren't in the top 2 in the previous heats, so this is their second chance to go through into the next round. So on the bike, Yolanda Adesida, as the bike starts to build momentum. So the top 2 will go through to the next round. It only seems a matter of minutes ago when they were in their heats. So next lap we'll see them on their own, and here we go. Adesida still at the front here. A reaction now from Amelia Combs from VC Londres. She takes it on. 2 laps to go. A bit of a reaction behind. Over the top they come. This always gets rather dicey. But a big effort over the top now, and that's from Serena Nat, and she's gapped him. So a big effort from Serena Nat could see her through this repechage into the next round. Still a big effort to hang on there from Adesida, and she does it. She takes a second place, so Nat and Adesida go through the repechage. So a good effort there. Nat went from a way out there and held on, but that effort there, how much has it put her into the red? So Serena Nat, Adesida, Howard, Hunter, Combs and Elliott are your top 6. So 1 repechage down, 1 to come. So stay with us for the second repechage. In fact, just to confirm, the top 3 will go into the semi-final. So Rebecca Howard will go through in this one. Serena Nat Adesida and Rebecca Howard will progress to the final, semi-final, sorry. So the next repechage riders coming up: Lauren Bell, Kelsey Fuss, Stephanie Hall, Naomi Lovesey, Charlotte Robinson, Isabel Whiteley. 3 going round. So 3 going on to the semi-final. Nice and relaxed in the back straight. It's the Derny pilot. Just waiting for a couple of riders here. So we've got 5 riders here. So the Derny coming round. Looks like one missing rider is Kelsey Fuss, VC Londres. So 5 riders in this repechage. 3 to go through to the semi-final. And on the bike there you've got Lauren Bell just behind the Derny. Charlotte Robinson bringing up the rear. Just in front of Robinson is Lovesey. So the second repechage. These are the riders that never got in the top 2 in the heats. Previously 3 heats. The top 2 go through to the semi-final directly. All the losers get into a repechage. And the top 3 go round to the semi-final. So 3 laps to go. And no action down the back straight. And it's Whiteley on the front. Lauren Bell just getting blocked in ever so slightly. A reaction now. Over the top comes Robinson, Sports City. A big effort from Whiteley. So the move coming. The 2 riders just distancing themselves. Still a big effort there from Stephanie Hall in second place. Can she hang on? The top 3 going through. So it's Robinson from Hall. Just coming over the top of Hall into second place. We're getting Lauren Bell, so they'll be your 3 qualifiers. Robinson and Bell up there. Kelsey Fuss was the one non-starter. So 12.185. So Robinson, Bell and Hall go through. Unfortunately, Lovesey and Whiteley will have to sit it out now. They'll take no more part in the Keirin. So Robinson, Bell and Hull will go on to the semi-final, which will come up a little bit later on. So already 2 rides. They'll have to recover. So next up will be the final of the female scratch race. We had 2 qualifiers earlier on. So later on this evening we have the female scratch, the male points race, the finals of the female Keirin. But for the moment, we're going to have the kilometre time trial, a presentation of the medals. And after this presentation, we'll go directly to the final of the female scratch. So just a reminder, hashtag track champs if you want to get involved. We're not going anywhere here. We're here to show you the action all weekend. Every second, every pedal rev. Looks like a house full here in Manchester. Glad you're joining us on Facebook Live. Or streaming, I believe, through the British Cycling website. Glad to have your company Saturday night. So hashtag track champs, Instagram, Twitter. Pick up your phone in your hand and get involved. Send us your picture. We're only minutes away from the medal presentation of the kilometre time trial. 3 riders doing a 101. Presenting the medals for the kilometre will be Richard Lodge, British Cycling Board member and chair of British Cycling Track Commission. The bronze medal going to Daniel Bigham of Hoop Wattbike Test Team with a 101.934. Close in the end, his teammates Jonathan Whale, again of Hoop Wattbike Test Team, a 101.841. So only hundreds of a second between bronze and silver, but the winner, Matthew Rotherham from Sports City Velo, a 101.559. So super ride by Matthew Rotherham. Again, working with Neil Fackey in paracycling as a pilot. Presenting the flowers is Luke Jones, a British cycling member from Welland Valley. So there you have it. Matthew Rotherham gold, Jonathan Whale in silver, and in bronze Daniel Bigham. That's your medalists of the male kilometre time trial. Enemies before, but now friends. So an exciting race, the kilometre. Down to hundredths of a second in the end. So, as we can see from the infield, the female distance riders just starting to warm up, so we're probably quite a few minutes away from the start of the female scratch final. So we've got a bit of a lull in the action for the time being. So if you're watching on Facebook Lives, thanks for joining us. Hashtag Track Champs. Get involved in social media. Tell us what you want. Post up your pictures. Don't be shy. So we just wait for the scratch race finalists to warm up. We're going to listen to Rebecca, who's with Matt Rotheringham, fresh from his ceremony presentation.
Well, thanks guys. I'm joined track centre, of course, by Matt Rotherham after that spectacular kilo. Talk me through your emotions, because that looked very special as you pulled on the national stripes.
Yeah, it did. I mean, I forget, I think I won it in 2011 now, so it's, well, 8 years ago. I mean, that's crazy. There's been a long gap since I won it, so yeah, nice to get it back. It did hurt a lot. Obviously, it's a couple of seconds longer than what we do in the tandem, so it's an extra couple of seconds of pain, but yeah, it was special to win it again, and yeah, I'll be proud to wear it for a year.
And talk us through the moment you crossed the line as well, because the sound this crowd made was huge, and you're always a showman.
Of course, and you know, had I not won, I'd have acknowledged, because the noise was incredible. Obviously, sort of as a home rider, I was pleased to have everyone's support there. So, you know, thank you very much, everybody. But yeah, it was amazing, and every time I went through the half a lap, I could hear the crowd. So I knew I was still ahead, so I kept digging in and just had to hold onto the line, and yeah, buzzing. I got it. And
of course, you mentioned the tandem there. What next for you?
Yeah, World Championships start of March now, so we can, for the next few weeks, go real hard in training, sort of, you know, get a few big gains in and then get fresh again and hopefully go even faster at the World Championships. But, you know, at the moment we've had a couple of good, solid sub-minute kilo rides with Neil, so hopefully we can just keep getting quicker and quicker and sort of break that 59-second barrier at some point. So, yeah, hopefully we keep going from strength to strength, and, yeah, should be more to come.
Thank you so much for joining us for a chat. And once again, a huge congratulations, ladies and gentlemen, Matt Rotherham. Thank you.
Thanks to Matt there. And I believe we had Neo Faki with us earlier on. He believes he is the driving force in that tandem. But we're going to see the women's scratch race. But before we do, the riders just warming up in the infield. But before we do that, we're going to give you a little taster of what to be expected.
The scratch race is a classic first across the line mass start race. The men race across a distance of 15 kilometres. The women race across 10 kilometres. Endurance riders often surge in an attempt to unsettle all the sprinters in the field. In turn, the sprinters will try to shelter with the pack for most of the race, conserving their energy until the final laps. The starter will indicate the leading rider by pointing as they pass on the home straight.
So there you have it. 40 laps of the track, 10 kilometres. We saw some cagey riding in the heats. Now we have 24 female cyclists looking for the British Championship. So they're just warming up in the infields. I'll just go through them while we have a little bit of time. So, Katie Archibald, Megan Barker, Eleanor Barker, Elizabeth Bennett, Rona Callender, Abigail Dentis, Eleanor Dickinson, Anna Docherty, Nia Evans, Kelsey Fuss, and that's maybe why she decided to skip out the Keirin, concentrate on this. Corinne Hall, Jenny Hall, Laura Kenny, Eleanor King, Josie Knight, Crystal Lane Wright, Sophie Lewis, Manon Lloyd, Emily Nelson, Rebecca Raybold, Jessica Roberts, Ellie Russell, Joanna Smith and Zoe Waters. So pick your favourite. I think looking at that field, anybody can win. I'm sure the favourites, as we've already seen, will be looking at each other. So can we see a surprise? So 40 laps, 10 kilometres. First rider over the line will be our national champion. So the riders still circling around the infield. Defending champion is Katie Archibald, Emily Kay was up there last year. Just looking around the results, Eleanor Dickinson was in second, Eleanor Barker in fourth, Emily Nelson, a good performance in third last year, Manon Lloyd in sixth. So many of the female riders I've already mentioned have ridden well. So just while they warm up and we wait for them on the track, if you missed yesterday, here are some of the highlights. So the riders just getting a briefing from the commissaire, the referee in the infield. So still we'll wait until the start of the scratch race. And the riders just been pulled out the pen in the middle. So the riders just coming out the warm-up area. And they'll make their way around to the start and finish straight. Some of them will start in the inside, some on the outside. So the first rider up, Lane Wright in the inside. Manon Lloyd in the outside in the black. So 24 riders, defending champion Katie Archibald. So we saw 2 heats this morning, 20 laps, but this is 40. Just enough time for anybody thinking of going in the attack and gaining a lap. So this will be very difficult. If you watched the qualifying rounds earlier, this will be very different. This is for the win, not for the qualifying. And off they go. So a tentative start at the front in the black, Man and Lloyd. So just rolling rounds for the time being. So 39 to go. So Eleanor Barker at the front, just peeling off. And nobody deciding to go early here. So the speed's still steady. Katie Archibald just swinging up. Just very short turns at the front. Team Breeze have many riders in here. The young developing riders. Can they mix it with the experienced riders? So just very short turns at the front for everybody. Anna Docherty just swings up. So the pace just building. No initial attacks. So if it's slow now, it will only get faster. So 5 laps in. Still very cagey. Laura Kenny just swings up in the black. Again, Jessica Roberts, Team Breeze. So these laps starting to tick down, 34 to go. Megan Barker in the dark blue just swings up now. Will we see a first attack? Zoe Waters, Katie Archibald. She's been on the track a lot in the last 2 days. Bit of a move now. The rider starting to creep off the front. So we're starting to see the action unfold. And here we go. Nia Evans. Tentative move there. She slips back in to 5th place. So a couple of riders looking to see what they can get out of this. So Nia Evans again towards the front. And just rolling through is Laura Kenny in the black. Anna Docherty swings up. Nobody willing to take it on. But now we see the first move. And it's Katie Archibald, the defending champion. Alarm bells will start to ring now. 28 laps to go. Nobody reacting at the moment. So Katie Archibald steals a bit of a gap. So what's going to happen behind? Who's going to take this up? Megan Barker. So this is someone you don't want to go if you want to win this race. Katie Archibald now has about 100 metres gap. So the defending champion, after all her efforts yesterday, on the front, and a Docherty still there. So no concerted effort here. And soon, Katie Archibald almost half a lap now. So Katie Archibald pursuing her way around. And half a lap she's got. No one able to go with her when she initially went. Nia Evans looked for it. But just over half a lap for Katie Archibald. And now she can see the back of the peloton. A reaction now from Eleanor Barker. She doesn't want Archibald to gain the back of the peloton. So the peloton now strung out now. They realise that Katie Archibald is making her way across. They want to make it as difficult as possible for her. She's only 100 metres off the back. But a big reaction at the front of the peloton. It's all strung out. So Katie Archibald is still in no man's land, 100 metres behind the peloton. Some riders starting to pull out now. The pressure is really on. And Eleanor Barker looks across and realises that Katie Archibald might not be making this. Laura Kenny comes up. So we're getting a combination of some of the favourites. Just as we thought Katie Archibald was going to make it. Laura Kenny still pushing hard on the front. Katie Archibald starting to die out there. You can see the physical demand. She's looking across, less than half a lap. Then we see Nia Evans. Nia Evans is pushing now. So teammates looking at each other. Eleanor Barker comes through again. And it looks as if Katie Archibald is starting to sit up now. It's not going to happen. Just when we thought that Katie Archibald was going to steal a lap now. And this race is all over the place. We've got about 8 riders coming across to Katie Archibald. So Katie Archibald has spent a lot of energy now. But she's got a very select group behind. I've come across to her. There's plenty of talented riders. So all back together. A bit of a lull in the action now. Perfect time to have a go. So Laura Kenny at the front. So some of the riders that have been struggling starting to come back to the peloton. A good time to go. And we're seeing that now. So one of the riders from Team Breeze going for this. And it's Rebecca Raybould. She swings up. And another attack from Team Breeze. So it's non-stack attacking now. 16 laps to go this time. So it's all action. And Laura Kenny just keeps it together. Nia Evans is still up there towards the front. She did a PB yesterday in the pursuit. 3:29. She's on the front now. Laura Kenny. And then we get the riders just easing back now. So a group of about 16 riders. Another attack from Team Breeze. So this is all action now. 14 laps to go. Another good effort there from Rebecca Raybould. She's tried once. She's trying again. Eleanor Barker thinks, no you don't. Comes up to the front. Laura Kenny. So still short turns at the front. Katie Archibald was an instigator and almost gained a lap, but the reaction from the peloton came. She was brought back. Abigail Dentis also up there. So Eleanor Barker just swings up. Getting 12 laps to go now. Katie Archibald towards the fore. Nia Evans at the front. The reaction now again from Team Breeze. And it's Jenny Hall. It's going now. A reaction at the front. Chasing. 11 laps to go. And another big effort now. So, Jenny Hall has about 50 metres advantage. And she knows there's an opportunity here. Jessica Roberts now goes. So an opportunity for maybe a surprise here. Maybe some of the favourites looking at each other. We did mention that before. So Jenny Hall for Team Breeze. Riding well. Jessica Roberts just behind. So what are the favourites going to do? Jenny Hall starting to pick up some of the back markers now. She'll need to sweep past them and keep concentrating. 2 kilometres to go. No major reaction behind. About 150 metres to Jenny Hall. She comes by the back markers. Starting to see a reaction. Nia Evans coming to the front, but this is a terrific effort from Jenny Hall. Can she hang on? 7 to go. Eleanor Barker comes up. Also Manon Lloyds up there in the black in second place. She swings up. But Jenny Hall still hanging in here for Team Breeze. Still 100 metres advantage. 6 laps to go. Can she hold on? Laura Kenny comes up. Eleanor Barker, Manon Lloyds, Megan Barker. It's all happening behind, but nobody putting the power down. Can she hang on? The Team Breeze rider. 5 laps to go. The crowd getting behind her. Jenny Hall still hanging out there. The front of the peloton now coming up. And it's Megan Barker. Still with about 100 metres advantage, but nobody taking the bull by the horns here. And Katie Archibald does her turn, swings up. 4 laps to go, 1 kilometre. Can she hang on for a famous victory? Jenny Hall from Team Breeze out the saddle. She's starting to feel this, but nobody committing themselves. 3 laps to go. If you want to win this title, now is the time. Jenny Hall, she's dying. This is going to be close. Jenny Hall, the gap coming down about 80 metres now. They're still playing around behind. Could it be a famous victory for Jenny Hall from Team Breeze? Starting to see a reaction now. Katie Archibald comes up. So Katie Archibald starting to make it. 2 laps to go, 500 metres. And Katie Archibald eating into this gap. So it's not going to be for Jenny Hall. So this is the wind up for the finish. And Katie Archibald going from a long way out. And on the wheel is Laura Kenny. Eleanor Barker coming, but it's Katie Archibald, Kenny, Barker. So Laura Kenny coming over the top. Can Katie Archibald hold on? Archibald in the inside, Kenny in the outside. It's a battle now, and Laura Kenny takes it. Laura Kenny is the new scratch race British champion. We need to see who finishes second and third. But it looked as if Eleanor Barker takes second, Katie Archibald in third place. But what a finish there, what an effort from Jenny Hall. So your new national champion in the scratch race is Laura Kenny. Left it late. Jenny Hall almost pulled off a surprise, but it wasn't to be. Confirmation, Laura Kenny, Eleanor Barker and Katie Archibald are your medalists. Nia Evans just pushed out there in 4th. What a fantastic race there. Last final 2 laps, you can see Jenny Hall, she did the right thing. Unfortunately she couldn't pull it off, but as we see the highlights, a terrific effort. Some tentative attacks. Katie Archibald, she went here. A lot of riders looked at each other and we thought now she could actually gain a lap, and if she gained a lap she could be retaining her title. She got to within 100 metres, but a reaction from the front of the peloton from some of the favourites came down to the last sprint. Katie Archibald was hanging on there, but over the top, the experience there of Laura Kenny. Coming. Katie Archibald fighting the whole way, but it was Kenny that hold on. to the win. Eleanor Barker just coming over the top there. So the favourites come to the front. And a good win there for Laura Kenny. Katie Archibald has to settle for the bronze medal. So enemies on the track, friends outside of the track. But what a great podium there of Kenny, Barker and Archibald. So a great advert for female scratch racing here. It's always very exciting. And Laura Kenny just sat in the wheels, came to the front, got her place on the wheel of Katie Archibald and managed to just hold her off on the finishing straight to win the British title. Don't forget, hashtag track champs, and join us. Show us what you're doing at home, watching Facebook Live. Pick up your phone, it's right next to you. So, we talked about national titles and how important they are. When you're an Olympic champion and world champion, this is what it means. Winning the national championships. Laura Kenny is back. Very pleased with that effort. Well judged in the end. Eleanor Barker was fast moving but just had to make up too much distance in the end. So if you're wondering what it feels like as an Olympic and world champion to win the nationals, there it was. Laura Kenny, you can't say she's not happy. So a super performance there and a deserved winner. So catching our breath for a second. Soon on to some men's sprinting, on to the finals. And first we're going to see the first match in the bronze medal ride-off. And that will be between Alex Pratt and Hamish Turnbull, with Jason Kenny and Joseph Truman riding off in the first match for gold and silver. And then afterwards we'll go to the male points race. Another thrilling bunch race, ridden aggressively this morning in qualifying. 120 laps of the track, a sprint every 10 laps, 20 points for lapping the field, double points at the end.
To the start line in the colours of Black Line Racing, Alex Pratt.
So over to men sprinting now. The bronze medal, the first match between Alex Pratt and Hamish Turnbull. We've been here before last year. Alex Pratt took the bronze medal. Turnbull had to settle for 4th place. So they know each other. So a slow and cagey start. And Hamish Turnbull in the purple slingshot kits, trying to entice Pratt to take it on from the front. But Pratt doesn't want to. A former rugby player turned cyclist. You can tell by his physique. Strong performance to get here. A bronze medal last year. Closely beaten by Jason Kenny in the semi-final. So still a cagey affair between both riders. Turnbull just starting to wind it up. Pratt closing the gap now. Pratt looking to increase the pace. He wants to wind this one up. He wants to wind it up early, gaining some height. Looking to dive down now. So Turnbull not committed 100%, holding back. But Pratt has the heights. He uses the heights. He uses the speeds. And now it's a drag race round the banking. Has Pratt got this? It's going to be a close one. I think it's going to be Turnbull. Turnbull takes the first match. I think Pratt left that a little bit too late there. And Turnbull taking it on from the front. Goes 1-0 up. And this rides for the bronze medal. So good riding there from Hamish Turnbull. Pratt looks fast, but unfortunately didn't have enough to come round him in the finishing straight. So Pratt will have to go back and think how he can beat Hamish Turnbull to try and keep a hold of that bronze medal he won last year in this event. But good sprinting here. Yet again, we saw it yesterday with the female sprinters, and we're seeing it again here today. Getting very tactical. And this morning's Pratt was the 3rd best qualifier, so faster than Turnbull, but it goes to show you that tactics does come into play in the match sprinting. So next up will be the first match between Jason Kenny and Joe Truman. I can just see them in the infield. Helmet on for Truman. It's ready to go now. So this will be the first match between the reigning Olympic champion and the fastest qualifier, Joe Truman. So Joe Truman will be in the green, Jason Kenny in the black.
Welcome our finalists to the track in Manchester. It's all the fastest men in Britain on 2 wheels. Here they go. The first leg of the men's sprint final.
So the fastest man in qualifying in the green, Joe Truman, on the outside, Jason Kenny on the inside. First match between these two. And this is the gold medal rides. He's just witnessed his wife take a national title in the scratch race. But now he has to focus on gaining a national title himself. So the experience with Kenny. But Joe Truman showing some class with a super fast time in qualifying, 9.8. And these two will know each other. And Jason Kenny just riding round, facing the opposite way. Not easy to do. Just making sure that Truman doesn't go for a long one. Steady affair. Jason Kenny trying to entice Truman to take it on from the front. Truman wants that element of surprise. He wants to keep Kenny in front of him. I remind you that Truman was faster by 0.1 of a second this morning in qualifying. Qualifying at 9 AM this morning, so they've been up early, a long day for these sprinters. So starting to build. Kenny's building speed. He wants to keep that front position now. Just watching, building the speed, looking behind the Truman. Both of them keeping some good height. Jason moves down to the sprinters line. Truman goes down as well. He'll know him. Both of them pushing up. Jason Kenny not totally committed. He's going to use the banking. It's going to be a late sprint. Truman coming. This is going to be a big battle now. Truman is coming over the top. What's this going to be? Truman is the speed. He's got enough speed. Wow, he takes the first match. Truman has enough speed. He showed that in the qualifying rounds this morning. He comes over the top of Jason Kenny. Not many people can do that. Jason Kenny left it late, wanted a shorter sprint, but Truman used the slipstream, slingshotted himself past the Olympic champion. An Olympic champion will have to come back in the next round and win that and try and take it to a decider if he wants to take that national title. But Truman looking super good there. So Jason Kenny all to play for. Joseph Truman taking 1-0 up. Hamish Turnbull 1-0 up against Alex Pratt. So we'll see this concludes at the end of the night. The next event will be the men's points race. And I'm going to take a bit of a rest now. I'm going to pass you over to Marty McDonald, who's going to take you through the scratch race. And Marty, what's the atmosphere down like in the track?
Oh, it's absolutely phenomenal, that women's scratch race. The reaction of the crowd so far. You can see here on a Saturday night in Manchester, almost capacity crowd at the Manchester Velodrome, the National Cycling Centre. We've got the men's points race up next, the final of that one. This is always an incredible race, and that women's scratch race, anything to go by. The bunch races here at the British National Track Championships are hotting up nicely. The match sprints are as well. We're going to give Brian a bit of a breather for the men's points race. 30 kilometres in total. He's been on the mic here on the live stream since 8:30 this morning. I hope you're enjoying the full coverage of this year's HSBC UK British National Track Championships, and going through the field for the men's points race. They're all just getting themselves ready in the track centre, as all the riders do. Have to get the bikes measured and weighed in time. This is the men's points. So the sprints 5, 3, 2 and 1 points on offer. Double points on that final lap. Since we introduced those double points, it really does set things up nicely for the excitement, the finish of these points races. And the men's points last year was one of the most exciting races of the championships. It was John Archibald that took it ahead of Ethan Hayter and Fred Wright, with Chris Latham up there as well. Matt Walls was in 5th, Will Roberts in 6th, but John Archibald finished with 30 points in total in the points race last year to take that one. But the beauty of the national championships, they can from time to time spring a surprise, and it was 2 years ago that Joe Nally of hardybikes.com managed to take the title ahead of Ethan Hayter, with Zach May in third place on that occasion. An incredible finish in that one. Just 6 riders scoring points in the end in the final of that one, with Adam Duggleby, Max Stedman and Matt Walls managing to take that. So the men's points, as they all bowl round the centre of the track, all getting themselves ready. So as you can see in the track centre, the riders all on the rollers go through. They've all got their headphones in. Your playlist as you get ready for your races. All important. Riders' playlists, we're told, change on a daily basis. If you've never seen the rollers before, it does take an element of balance and skill to be able to ride on the rollers. And the riders go through their warm-ups, progressive warm-ups. You can see here little burnouts on the rollers. They'll take you, generally go up through your power data. Most riders on their warm-up bikes as well have got the power meter on the handlebars. They'll just go through just a progressive warm-up to get themselves ready for their race. And then they move into the centre. You see they have a square in the track centre. You saw the riders just bowling around in that one, just to get themselves just those final little bits of preparation in the track centre before you get up onto the track and ready for the final. So a lot of prestige surrounds this event. So some interesting riders to watch out in this final. Ollie Wood from Canyon DHB, presented by Bloor Holmes. So he's one of the favourites definitely for this one. If you're new to the points race, this is how it works.
Points race is a mass start race over a long distance. It's an endurance race, but tactics are crucial to the rider's success. Men race over a distance of 40 kilometres. For the women, it's 25 kilometres. A sprint is held every 10 laps, which is signalled by a bell. Points are awarded for each sprint. For first place, 5 points. For second, it's 3. Third place, 2 points. And for fourth place, 1 point. In addition to the sprints, riders can earn 20 points for lapping the field and joining the back of the main bunch of riders. The leading rider is indicated by the starter, who stands on the start line and points to the leading rider as he or she passes. The winner is the rider with the most points at the end of the race.
As I said, the winner with the most points at the end is the winner of the points race. How we get to that. So 20 points for lapping the field in the finals. We generally see riders trying to take those all-important 20 points. 5, 3, 2 and 1 points on offer at those intermediate sprints, and then those double points on the line. So I hope you've enjoyed the coverage today on day 2 of the National Track Cycling Championships. That kilometre time trial, absolutely phenomenal performance from Matt Rotherham. There's your bunch of riders just bowling round, getting ready, and some of the commissaires as well, just checking last minute checks on the bikes of riders that might not have gone through the rigmarole, getting the bike checked for the position, checked for the weight.
Next up, the riders are going through the motions in the track centre for the next race, the 30-kilometre points. Take a look at the pit screen for an explanation.
So heat 2 of the points qualification early on today as well. A lot of these riders had that qualification very early this morning. Matt Walls from Hollywood, Joe Nally up there as well, now in the colours of Team Inspired. And Joe Nally, he said 2 years ago, really burst onto the scene with that points race victory, caught the attention of the national selectors, now on that Team Inspired, which is part of the Great Britain national team. And that is what these championships are all about. You've just seen world champions, European champions, and Olympic champions in the women's scratch final, and the club riders, the amateur riders, rubbing shoulders with the best in the world. And again, you've got to watch out for the likes of this one, of Mark Stewart, Commonwealth points race champion. It's on good form in the qualification. There's your team-inspired colours. You've seen that in the sprints. Also in the bunch races as well. There's red and white colours of the Wales Racing Academy. If you're familiar with the road cycling on the road, the Canyon DHB Bloor Homes team, as it is now. It was Canyon Iceberg last year, but that development team is feeding riders up to the highest level, with Harry Tanfield moving now from Canyon to Katusha. Some outsiders to watch out for in this one as well. Stephen Bradbury was looking good in the qualification heats as well. Some of the best form that I've seen for a few years from Stephen Bradbury. It was busy over the festive period over in, I think it was South Africa. They took a little trip to ride as well. Always very active on the 6-day circuit as well is Stephen Bradbury. The riders moving out of the central square. And again, you can see riders just getting their numbers adjusted by the officials at the side as well, just to make sure that they've got them in the right position. So heat 1 earlier on today as well, that was Ethan Hayter, took that from Sam Tillett, with Stephen Bradbury in third. Oscar Mingue also scored good points in that one as well, as did Joe Holt from the Vitus Pro Cycling brother team. Reese Britton and Ethan Vernon, good points scored by them. Cameron Richardson for the BioRacer Moriarty Go team was the rider that scored just 1 point at the end of that heat in 14th place. Matty Dobbins of Glasgow just sneaking in 12th. So almost ready for the off here in the men's points race. A little bit of talk down at the for our Solihull rider from Stuart Blunt, one of the British national team coaches. That's Jack Rutkin-Gray from Solihull CC. Jack Rutkin-Gray, again, another rider who was looking good in the qualification. Everyone that's here in this could be a contender in this points final. Getting the last bit of chat there from the official, Alan Sheldon. So Matty Dobbins on those light blue colours of Glasgow CT. So the riders coming out onto the track now for the 30-kilometre points race final. 120 laps are on the board. So let's run you through your riders as they come up towards the line. So some riders will start up on the fence. The rest will start on the blue band. So Andy Brown on the front. They're wearing number 30 for Metaltech Quota Racing Team. So your full draw here. So Stephen Bradbury from Swift Carbon Pro Cycling. Reese Britton from Team Inspired. Andy Brown, as we mentioned there, from Metaltech Quota. Jim Brown from Team Inspired. Matty Dobbins from Glasgow CT. Alfie George from Discovery Junior Cycling Club in the yellow and black colours. Kyle Gordon, medalist in the individual pursuits for RT23. Ethan Hayter from VC Londra. Leo Hayter also from VC Londra. Joe Holt from Vitus Pro Cycling brother. Oscar Mingue from Wales Racing Academy. Mikey Mottram from the Vitus Pro Cycling brother team. Joe Nally from Team Inspired. Oscar Nielsen Julien from VC Londra. Will Roberts from the Wales Racing Academy. Jack Rutkin-Gray from Solihull CC. Mark Stewart is in the colours of Ribble Pro Cycling, wearing number 222. Will Tidball from Team Inspired. Sam Tillett from the Wales Racing Academy. Jacob Tipper from Hooper Watt Bike Test Team. Ethan Vernon, Matt Walls and Fred Wright, all in the colours of Team Inspired. And then 275 in the blue of Canyon DHB. Bloor Holmes is Ollie Wood. And straight away, it's the colours of VC Londra and Ethan Hayter going off the front of the race. So an early move here from Ethan Hayter, really setting his stall out in this one. Mikey Mottram is the rider that closes down the gap up to him. Oscar Mingay of the Wales Cycling Academy swings off the front. Alfie George does the same. So two riders going clear here. So Mikey Mottram and Ethan Hayter very early on in this one. So Hayter, the rest of the riders in this will recognise the danger of Ethan Hayter getting off the front too early in this one. Hollywood swings off the front. So they try and neutralise this. 117 laps to go. And the clock starting in the bottom. 7 laps to go to the first sprint. But again, a good move. Very vigilant riding again from Mikey Mottram. Mottram, a rider that crossed over from rowing to cycling. And he was with Morvello Basso last year, was Mikey Mottram. I remember he rode well in these finals as well, especially in the scratch qualification. Stephen Bradbury coming through towards the front. Little flick of the elbow for Stephen Bradbury. And those team-inspired colours as well. Watching out for them. Alfie George takes it up. Little flick of the elbow. Mark Stewart from Ribble swings off the front. Again, you can see the pace already. This is the way the points race final generally pans out here in these National Track Cycling Championships. Andy Brown has a little look around. A lot of the Scottish riders up there. Your team inspired. So Ethan Hayter very, very vigilant at the front of this one. 3 laps to go to the first sprint. Bradbury has a little glance around, has a look. Ethan Hayter, so the VC Londra team. Got Oscar Nielsen, Julien in there as well. So 3 riders for VC Londra in their famous London-based club. Based out of the Herne Hill Velodrome, the outdoor track. Matt Walls has a look back over the shoulder now to this one, and again the move comes up the inside there by the Vitus Pro Cycling team riders. Again, swings off the front. 1 lap to go. So bell lap this time. So it's a sprint lap this time, and it's Matt Walls on the front of the bunch. So Matt Walls with Ethan Hayter. So again, just battling to come through and take this one. So Walls takes 5 points. So we'll wait for confirmation of that one. Will they persist with this one? The pace still pretty frenetic out there. You can see just how long the bunch is in this one. Jim Brown, rider that came through the Hoy Future Stars series here at this Manchester Velodrome. Remember him taking the Hoy Future Stars title. Kyle Gordon, Alfie George, a little flick of the elbow again after that first sprint. So it's Walls from Hayter, Wright and Bradbury. So good to see Wright getting some points scored and Bradbury. So here they go again. Stephen Bradbury swings up. 106 laps to go. So there you have it. So Matt Walls from Ethan Hayter, Fred Wright and Stephen Bradbury. Those are your points scored so far. So lining up for that next sprint. 5 laps to go till the next one. Again, Andy Brown, Alfie George, Mikey Mottram takes it up. Very vigilant though, Matt Walls. We're seeing at the front. Again, Matt Walls could be a favourite for this title. Class points race rider is Matt Walls. Constantly just looking back. Jacob Tipper there for Who Bought Bike Test Team. So 104 laps to go. 4 laps to the next sprint. Ollie Wood moves up in second wheel there. Bradbury dives down the inside. Here's this time that Bradbury makes his move. Doesn't swing straight off the front. It's Alfie George again. Alfie George doesn't want to take it up at the moment. A little bit too far out he feels for this one. Stewart comes through. Has a glance back. So they're going to react to that one. Oscar Nielsen, Julien, and the VC Londra rider. Here comes Hayter on the inside for VC Londra. 2 laps to go now to the next sprint. So the first one, it went the way of Walls, Hayter, Wright and Bradbury. The bunch spread all up the track here as they come round to line it up for the next sprint. Here we go. So this time it's Rhys Britton on the inside. So Rhys Britton on the inside of the track. Ethan Hayter is trying to get himself in contention for this sprint. Joe Holt in the black in third with Alfie George well up there as well. So that one goes the way of Rhys Britton. It was your sprint lap. So confirmation of the sprint result with 99 laps to go. It's Rhys Britton from Joe Holt, Ethan Hayter and Alfie George. So good to see Joe Holt getting himself in there. So on the leaderboard now with 98 to go. It's Rhys Britton with 5, level with Ethan Hayter, Matt Walls, Joe Holt and Fred Wright with 97. But blink and you'll miss it. This will go and pass very quickly, will this one. So on the inside there, this points race lining up nicely. Is anyone going to manage to try and take a lap? But at this speed, absolutely phenomenal pace from the start. We're just almost 7 minutes in to this points race final, 30 kilometres in a total. Jim Brown on the front now. And Wood. Rutkin Gray from Solihull. We saw him having a chat with Stuart Blunt before the start, one of the British coaches. And again, it's Matt Walsh. A little testing attacks here. Jacob Tipper, phenomenal time trialist, is Jacob Tipper. Like many of that Who But What bike test team. The Wales Racing Academy looking to get in on the action again. Mikey Mottram. He does spend a lot of time trying to mix it in there. He's got to try and start capitalising on the energy that he expends in these races and start to pick up some points. Easier said than done sometimes at this level. VC Londra though with 93 laps to go, 3 to go till the next sprint. Oscar Nielsen, Julien. He's the rider with the black helmet for VC Londra. And again, big move, that surprise move over the top, a big flyer coming through here. That's a good move now, and it's Hayter that's going again. Hayter now off the front. Just saw him getting that momentum over the top of the group. 4 riders trying to drag themselves off the front, and Mikey Mottram is the rider that's trying to drag it back. So Leo Hayter, it is from VC Londra that made that massive move over the top of the bunch to try and get clear. But here comes Mark Stewart. Mark Stewart coming around this time to try and take the sprint on the line. And a little throw to the line there for Mark Stewart. And he's going to press on with this one is Mark Stewart. And again, that gets closed down by Kyle Gordon. A little look back over the shoulder. Will Tidball from Team Inspired is there with Mark Stewart. There you have it. So Stewart, Vernon Tidball and Rutkin Gray. So with Will Tidball gets himself some points, as does Jack Rutkin Gray. 11 riders have scored points, 88 laps to go. So Stewart, Britton, Hayter and Walls all level with 5 points at this stage of this points race final. Ethan Hayter, that early attack that Hayter put in to try and get himself off the front of this one. But now we start to get a bit of a move. Ollie Wood just drops down the track, tries to close the gap down to the team-inspired rider that's now made the move off the front. Matt Walls it is with Ollie Wood trying to close the gap. And again, they'll recognise the danger of this one, but a little bit of pressure goes off the front of the bunch. Two riders going clear. It's Ollie Wood from Canyon DHB, presented by Bloor Homes. And Matthew Walls from Team Inspired. And we're seeing a few riders on the front of the bunch that are just constantly a little flick of the elbows. No one really wanting to take it up at the moment, but it's still only a small advantage for our two leaders. 4 laps to go now to the start of the next sprint. Walls and Wood keeping that pressure on now. The gap starting to grow, but Mark Stewart behind is just starting to close the gap down. There's the front of the bunch, and Stewart is closing it at over 10.5 minutes of racing now, as Ethan Hayter comes through. So these two riders, they saw that the lap wasn't on. That's when you're off the front, you're always thinking about that lap gain. That's the objective when you attack in the points race. You're always thinking, can I take that lap? Can I press on? If you get half a lap quickly, there's always that thing, just pause, take that little breath, and then press on. Close the lap down as quickly as possible. What you don't want to leave yourself out there for too many laps. You want to hit it, and you want to hit it hard, and close that gap and take that lap. 1 lap to go now to the start of the next sprint. So Oscar Mingate is up there. Joe Nally from Team Inspired on the front. Joe Nally's leading out. Here comes Ollie Wood round the outside. Nally and Wood. Can Wood come through and take this one? Yes, he can. Wood is up there. Nally is well there as well, as is Stewart. Will they try and stretch this one again? Rutkin Gray of Solihull swings up, but he does enough to neutralise that one. Mark Stewart. That points race in the Commonwealth Games, it was a pain and agony. Mark Stewart used everything that he had in that one. There's confirmation. So Ollie Wood, Joe Nally, Rhys Britton and Mark Stewart. So Ollie Wood gets some points scored there as well. Joe Nally, the former winner of this title, gets some points on the board as well. The classification at the moment, so Rhys Britton with 7, Mark Stewart with 6, Ollie Wood with 5, level with Ethan Hayter and Matt Walls. Stephen Bradbury now makes a move. Ollie Wood closes it down quickly. Bradbury, at that pace, he has scored some points early on, but he's got some work to do to try and put himself into a medal position in this one. 76 laps to go when they come round this time. Fred Wright just folds his hands over the front of the bars. There's blue shoes, but again, it's neutralised quickly by another one of the team-inspired riders. Walls, it looks like that style just folds the hands over the front of the bars. Ollie Wood trying to close down. So 4 riders just off the front here. So Jacob Tipper, Mikey Mottram are in there as well. And again, that bunch just closing it down. That pace super high here at the moment. So 3 laps to go to the next sprint here in the men's points race final, over 30 kilometres. Will Tidball swings off the front. Mottram and Tipper are both there as well. So there you can see the pressure still on in this one, this points final. This it was set out early by Ethan Vernon. Pressed on off the front. Leo Hayter from VC Londra swings off the front. Get a little bit of pressure the first time we've seen this so far in this one, but then that's usually the opportunity for someone to make a move. And Jack Rutkin Gray looking back at the VC Londra rider. 1 lap to go now to the next sprint. Here we go, sprint lap this time, and it's Hayter trying to come over the top here of Rutkin Gray. But he's being challenged right on the line. So Hayter on the inside. Looks like he took that one. Plenty of those team-inspired jerseys. It's those colours of the Wales Racing Academy now that are trying to go clear. And this one has a little look back. Does Will Roberts. Roberts swings up the track. Ethan Hayter's got that familiar style, just folds the hands in as well. There's your points. Wright, Hayter, Roberts and Rutkin Gray. So Fred Wright notching up some 5 points there. So just to update you on your classification, your top 5 riders at the moment are Ethan Hayter, Fred Wright, Rhys Britton. So Ethan Hayter on 8, Fred Wright and Rhys Britton are on 7, Mark Stewart's on 6th, and at the moment in 5th it's Ollie Wood with 5 points in this points final. Sam Tillett now. Little move here for the Wales Racing Academy. The Wales Racing Academy, of course, have that indoor track, the Newport Velodrome. They are based at so many indoor velodromes around the country now. Derby, where the Hoop Bike Test team are based. A lot of the Scottish riders taking advantage of the Sir Chris Hoy Velodrome in Glasgow. Oscar Mingay sets up 5 laps to go now to the next sprint. So this pace so high, we haven't seen any massive attacks really in this one. It's all about the sprints at the moment. Plenty of time though for lap gains. If anyone in this race, the bunch sits up, decides to just collect their thoughts, that's the time to go. Kyle Gordon, bronze medalist in the individual pursuit. We saw him warming up on the rollers just before we rolled out for the starts, and now the big move goes in, and it's another one of our Welsh riders. There you have it. So as we said, the pressure goes off the front of the bunch, and it's Oscar Mingay that's on the attack. Again, folds the hands over the front of the bars, so that pressure up the bunch you can see just spread up the track there. Oscar Mingay now making a move, so this is the first really big move that we've seen. This is the biggest advantage so far in this race. Oscar Mingay, Alfie George is on the front of the bunch. Matty Dobbins has a little look around. Oscar Mingay though with 62 to go, really now trying to gain an advantage where he could start to think about a lap game, but it's a 1 lap now to that next sprint. 61 laps to go. Oscar Mingay, and a big roar from the crowd as they get behind the Wales Racing Academy rider as he tries to get up there. This is the sprint now this time, so Mingay goes through, takes maximum points. Ollie Wood closes that one down. Joe Nally also notches some points on the board again. The Wales rider though pressing on, but we've got a bit of a group just coming off the front of the bunch. Mingay sits up, decides that the points scored is all he's going to get out of that one. Big move though nonetheless, but he's had a look and he feels that he could probably get that lap maybe later on in the race. Drops back down the bunch. There's the result of sprint 6. So Oscar Mingay from Ollie Wood, Joe Nally and Matt Walls. So Ollie Wood, good points scored by them. So the standings after the sprint, it just flashed up on the screen, but it's Ollie Wood with 8, at level with Ethan Hayter. They're level on 8 points. Then comes Fred Wright, Rhys Britton and Matt Walls. That is your top 5 here at this stage of the points race final. Hayter for VC Londres with 56 to go. Again, up the bunch, and again Joe Holt drops down the track, trying to make his move. Off the front is Joe Holt, so he's a part of the Vitus Pro Cycling brother team, but he's riding in the plain black skin suit. And again, some of the teams at this stage of the year might not quite have this year's team kit ready for their riders. And he's being chased hard again. Oscar Mingay decides to go after Joe Holt. So Joe Holt's got about the length of the straight now. This is a decent move now by Joe Holt with 54 laps of this points race remaining. Mingay sits up. We've got a bit of a group just off the front of the bunch. Holt has a look back again. It's the team-inspired colours that are chasing this one down. Alfie George from Team Discovery. Discovery Junior CC, Alfie George in the yellow white and grey colours. Joe Holt sits up. Again, it comes to nothing. 2 laps to go to the next sprint. Mikey Mottram on the front. Goes through 52 laps to go. Again, Mottram appears on the front all the time. Look at this move now by Mark Stewart over the top. This is how to get the element of surprise on the bunch. It's Stewart and Hayter that are going off the front. Ethan Hayter, he saw Mark Stewart making his move. He knew that that was the express train that he needed to be on this sprint lap. Mark Stewart and Ethan Hayter now go through and take maximum points. He has a little glance back. Ollie Woods is on the front of the bunch behind for Canyon. He tries to close the gap down. Will Hayter and Stewart persist with this one? They drag it back. It's Ollie Wood that brings it back. Hayter and Stewart swing up. Sam Tillett has a little look through, swings straight up the track. Jacob Tipper drops down. There's the results. So Stewart takes 5, Hayter takes 3, Wood takes 2, Tillett takes 1. So good points scored. It's Jacob Tipper rolling a big gear for Hoob Watt Bike Test Team. Reese Britton is the rider from Team Inspired that's trying to get up to him. So Tipper rolling off the front. 2 riders in the gap. Stephen Bradbury being one of them. Rider Jim Brown is there as well. So to update you on your standings with 47 laps of this points race remaining, it's Mark Stewart and Ethan Hayter level on 11 points. Ollie Wood is third with 10. Fred Wright and Reese Britton in 4th and 5th, but with 7 points apiece. Reese Britton and Jacob Tipper just hoping that this bunch might let them go. Kyle Gordon is trying to close the gap down on the front. Again, Kyle Gordon needs to think about getting some points notched up on the board. Hayter and Britton are looking for the lap gain, though. That's what they want. Kyle Gordon has a little swing around on the front of the bunch, gets himself a little bit of height to get on top of that gear, decides to press on. Stewart and Wood swing off the front of the bunch, but Tipper and Britton pressing on here at the front. It's the Team Inspired jerseys that are there, but Kyle Gordon is chasing down this gap in between. There's your bunch. Mikey Mottram it is on the front from Alfie George. Tipper with Britton and Gordon. So good move by Gordon to get onto that one. Joe Nally from Team Inspired is on that group behind. There you have it. So the Team Inspired, many of those jerseys in this one. 2 laps to go now to the next sprint. It's Gordon, Tipper and Britton that are at the head of the race and are trying to close the gap down. Is Leo Hayter. Hayter from VC Londra makes an attack off the front with 41 to go. Sprint lap this time. Jacob Tipper keeping that pressure on now on the front. Fred Wright is trying to close the gap behind. There you have it, 3 riders off the front. They're going to take 5-3-2 points. So Britton crosses the line first. So they didn't sprint it out. There you have it. Kyle Gordon comes through. Jacob Tipper and Reese Britton. They're building that advantage. And we've got 1 rider coming across the gap behind, and he's coming across like a rocket. 2.54. There's confirmation of sprint 8. Reese Britton takes 5. Kyle Gordon 3. Jacob Tipper takes 2. Mikey Mottram gets 1 point. And how that affects proceedings. So Reese Britton goes to the top of the leaderboard with 12. Second, Mark Stewart with 11. Ethan Hayter also with 11 points. Ollie Wood has got 10 for Canyon. And Fred Wright in 5th with 7 points. That's your leaders at the moment, but it's still wide open here with 37 laps to go. Still plenty of time in this points race to try and lap the field. This 4-rider leading group are just steadily, lap after lap, just building their advantage, but it's the Wales Racing Academy rider that takes it up. But every time the pressure goes off the front of the bunch, it plays into the hands of our breakaway group that are just keeping that tempo super high. Ethan Hayter it was that had a little look around on the front, swung off the front of the group. Andy Brown from Metal Tech Quota. So again, they've just got quarter of a lap advantage. 5 laps to go now to the next sprint. A lot of riders looking around at the likes of Mark Stewart. They know Mark Stewart is a class act. They know that he can take a lap. In the blink of an eye can Mark Stewart, blistering turn of speed that he has when he needs to make his move. So that leading group. Kyle Gordon drops down. Jacob Tipper in that group. There's your bunch behind. It's just starting to splinter. The lap gain could be on here. So 2 laps to go to the next sprint. This lap gain, they're starting to see the back of the bunch in their sights. They'll wait until after this sprint though before they really try and up the tempo to close down that gap. Sprint lap this time. So Matt Walls, Reese Britton, Kyle Gordon and Jacob Tipper. But look at the turn of speed on the front by the team-inspired riders. Matthew Walls, and now they're starting to gap Kyle Gordon. They want the lap gain. They want the back of the group. Kyle Gordon and Jacob Tipper are battling to try and get on with them. 29 laps to go. It looks like the lap gain could be on here for Reese Britton and Matt Walls. They get on. Kyle Gordon and Jacob Tipper are almost there. Jacob Tipper's almost onto the back of the group as well. So that previous sprint, Matt Walls from Reese Britton, Kyle Gordon and Jacob Tipper. So our breakaway group are all on, so that will give them 20 points. So that flips the standings on its head. So Britton, Gordon, Tipper and Walls. So good to see Jacob Tipper getting up there as well. Kyle Gordon, good ride by Kyle Gordon to get that lap gain as well. So just to update you, as Andy Brown goes off the front. So at the top of your leaderboard with 26 laps to go here in the points race final, it's Reese Britton with 35. Matt Walls second with 31 points. Kyle Gordon is in third with 26. Jacob Tipper with 23. Expect the likes of Mark Stewart, who's in fifth at the moment with 11 points, to try and do something special at the back end of this points race. Now Andy Brown is off the front. Mikey Mottram, Stephen Bradbury are in the gap in between. So the officials are looking for the head of the race, and it's with the Scotsman wearing number 30, Andy Brown of Metal Tech Quota, off the front. Can anyone else gain that lap, get those 20 points and put themselves into a medal winning contention here in the points race final? Andy Brown though just starting to tie up a little bit. Mottram and Bradbury, so maybe you've got to get on to the main part of the bunch here. So it is really splintering all over this Manchester Velodrome with 23 laps to go. What the likes of Kyle Gordon have got to be careful of. They've lapped the field, they've got those 20 points, but what they don't want to do is end up in the wrong part of the bunch with those riders that have gained that lap. So 4 riders at the head of the race. Fred Wright, Stephen Bradbury, Mikey Mottram and Andy Brown. Sprint lap, they come round this time. The bunch just starting to close down up towards the sprint here. Fred Wright comes through to take it from Bradbury, Mottram and Brown. Seeing again the team-inspired riders just trying to thread their way through. Some of the back markers, Alfie George trying to come off the front. Kyle Gordon's caught in the wrong part of the bunch here. Brown just swings up. Mark Stewart, Ollie Woods, Ethan Hayter I've also got in there as well. Jack Rutkin Gray from Solihull CC is in there. So Fred Wright, Stephen Bradbury, Mikey Mottram and Andy Brown. That's your order across the line. So result of sprint 10, 18 laps to go. And you can see here in this points race final, this race is all over this track. If you've been with us since the start, you know the pace that this one has been on from the gun. Updating you on your overall standings with 2 sprints remaining, one with 10 to go, then double points on the line. At the top of the leaderboard at the moment with 35 points, it's Rhys Britton. Matt Walls second with 31. Kyle Gordon is still third with 26. Jacob Tipper fourth with 23. Then Fred Wright with 12. So the commissaires just trying to keep an eye on what they're deeming is the head of the race. It's the rider here just going through, headed by Will Roberts of the Wales Racing Academy. The riders that have gained that lap just trying to find their way back into this group with 15 to go. It's Bradbury from Roberts on the front. Again, those Wales Racing Academy riders just putting in some testing attacks. So where is this title going? It is still super close at the top of proceedings. We'll know more in 4 laps time with 1 sprint remaining, but those double points on that final lap, 10, 6, 4 and 2 points, just those points advantages between 10 and 6 can make all the difference on the final sprint. So it's Britton, Walls, Gordon, Tipper and Wright, the top 5 at the moment. So Fred Wright, even if he managed to take the final sprint, the double points, he needs to try and score some more in this one to try and put himself in a medal winning position. And now going off the front, and it's Joe Nally that's going clear. Ethan Hayter and Ollie Wood are giving chase. Joe Nally, the winner in 2017 of this points race final, 11 laps to go, comes around this time. Bell lap this time. Nally, Hayter, Wood and Stewart, that's the order at the moment. Mark Stewart putting in a huge move to try and come up to Ethan Hayter. Stewart comes over the top of Hayter to come round and score some points with 10 to go. You would expect Mark Stewart knows now that he needs to try and gain a lap. Ethan Hayter just puts his hand up to Mark Stewart. We now have 3 riders going clear and 3 class acts. We have Ethan Hayter, Mark Stewart and Ollie Wood off the front. We then have a trio of team inspired riders that are chasing down behind. There's confirmation of your sprint results. So it's Mark Stewart, Ethan Hayter, Ollie Wood and Joe Nally, 5, 3, 2 and 1.2 kilometers to go. 8 laps remaining this final sprint. Updating you on your standings with 1 sprint to go. It's Rhys Britton at the top of the leaderboard with 35. Just 4 points advantage, though, over Matt Walls. Kyle Gordon is third with 26. Jacob Tipper is fourth with 23. Then Mark Stewart is fifth with 16. So if Stewart manages to get 10 points, he might get himself into a bronze medal position in this race. 7 laps to go. There's Rhys Britton. There's your leader, wearing number 28 from Team Inspired. The rider now making the move off the front is Will Tidball from Team Inspired. But again, it's Mikey Mottram from Vitus Pro Cycling Brother that starts to close it down. Keep an eye on your leader, wearing 28. Matt Walls in second, wearing 254. 2 Team Inspired riders. Leo Hayter from VC Londra goes off the front to chase down that rider at the head of the race. Keep an eye on him. This is this final sprint. 4 laps to go now. 4 to go. And Hayter comes through with 4 remaining to try and get himself up there. Passes Will Tidball. Ethan Vernon is off the front. And Rutkin Gray, Jack Rutkin Gray from Solihull. We're keeping an eye on this one. So Vernon off the front, 3 laps to go. He's looking for those double points. This is what Rhys Britton wants as well. He needs to keep an eye out for 254. That's Matt Walls. There's Rhys Britton wearing number 28. It's going to be Hayter. 2 laps to go. Can he hold on to this one? Ollie Wood now makes a big move out of the group for Canyon. DHB Bloor Homes trying to close this one down. Leo Hayter, though, off the front. The camera just concentrating. You can see there on number 28. You're watching out for 254 though as well. Matt Walls Can he take that? But the maximum points here as Rhys Britton starts to make his way up through the group. It's going to be Vernon that's going to take maximum points at the end. You can see the legs really tying up here for Rhys Britton in this final sprint. So Hayter takes that one from Woods and Hayter. So Leo Hayter and Ethan Hayter gets a third on that one. So we'll update you on that. So there you have, at the end of that one, it's a bronze medal for Kyle Gordon from Scotland. Kyle Gordon, RT23, second place for Matt Walls, but the gold medalist and the national champion, Rhys Britton of Team Inspired. So great points race final. Always one of the races of the championships is the points final. Plenty more action to come here in the HSBC UK British National Track Championships. It's going to be back to the women's Keirin half-finals next, and then back to the men's sprint. There you have it. It's showing you some replays of the men's points and how that one panned out as the riders roll round. But a big national title there. So there's Mark Stewart. A lot of riders were watching Mark Stewart in that one. A well-deserved winner there, Rhys Britton. See just how hard he's working in there. Finds that wheel of Mark Stewart. So that is the points final done and dusted. I'm going to hand you back to Brian Smith, who's got some special guests to entertain you for the remainder of the evening. So from me, Martin McDonald, I'll see you in a little while.
Thanks, Marty. A terrific race there. A good winner in So moving on, and the next we'll see the semi-finals of the Keirin, the female Keirin, the semi-final. So before we go there, let's just go a gentle reminder of what's up next.
The Keirin originated in Japan. It is a race for up to 7 riders. The Derny is a powered bicycle which leads the riders around the track for 750 metres or 3 laps. The speed of the Derny builds from 30 km an hour in the first lap to 50 km an hour when leaving the track on the home straight. After 750 metres, the Derny pulls off the track to let the riders sprint for the last 750 metres or 3 laps for the win. The Keirin is the no-holds-barred event, sure to see some fast-paced and frantic action.
So into the semi-finals now of the female Keirin racing. And I don't claim to be an expert at this track racing, but I've been encouraged an expert to join me now in the commentary box, none other than Olympic champion Callum Skinner. And Callum, how are you enjoying these national championships?
It's really good, actually. Obviously everyone watching at home will realise I'm spectating and not participating this time around, but no, it's really special. I still walk up that ramp and you get that buzz knowing that how much is at stake, really. You know, the British team's so successful and there's a lot at stake for these riders to try and prove how well they stack up against their teammates, and ultimately that leads to selections at the major championships going forward. And
we're moving in now to the female Keirin, into the semi-finals. So we have 2 semi-finals, and we'll move forwards into the finals a little bit later. But we've just seen the explainer package, what's required in the Keirin. We're kind of changing the rules a little bit. The Derny pulling off with 3 laps to go. You've been involved with GB sprinting. Explain a little bit about how the tactics play out in the Keirin. You know, do you want to be behind the bike? Do you want to be last person and see everything in front of you? How do you play it?
The Keirin is such a tricky one, and it's taken me years to try and get a grasp of it. With mixed success at the Olympics, it was actually my final event, and got disqualified for cutting up an American in the repechage.
Naughty.
Terrible. But no, to me it's a bit of a mystery event, but I understand a few principles I'll try and share with everyone. That's why I love the sprint so much, because it's just you and one other rider, and you're controlling that one other person. Whereas the Keirin, if you want to see mayhem, if you want to see crashes, this is the event for you, basically. It's fast and furious and often quite close. So hopefully we'll see a good race coming up. But it's really just trying to make the best of that bunch. There's no set position on where it's best to be. Some people like to put on a massive charge from the back of the line all the way to the front to get a win. Some people like to just mix it up at the front and see how you're going. But with a general rule of thumb, you don't want to be more than 3 riders back unless you're planning something pretty special. And you don't want to be kind of held in the inside. You want to be going down the outside and staying out? No, for sure. I think what you'll try and see here, if the riders have been taught the right thing by their coaches, they'll be trying to stay as low as possible. If you end up getting stacked up and you're building up to that blue line above the adverts and even as high as the fence, you think how far that rider's got to go down compared to the person on the black line. That's something you do not want to be doing. You want to keep it low and fast. And into the semi-final here, are you thinking about, because you know the first, second and third will go straight into the final, and the rest will go into the 7th to 12th. So it's 2 heats, 6 in each heat, 3 winners will go into the final, 3 losers will go into the runoff for the 7 to 12 places. So there's a lot of riders today have already ridden 2-3 Keirins, and you know the fatigue starts to set in. It's been a long day for a lot of these riders. How do you go into this? Do you go into this just, I'm going to get into the final first, or do you think about the final and try and get in the top 3? I guess all these riders just need to be focused on the next race. There's no good thinking about the final if you end up in the minor final. So, but you know that's a good point about the fatigue that you feel down there. It's not chilly down there. It's boiling hot, and that takes a little bit of energy out of the guys as the day goes on. And the reason why I saw you in the infield there and brought you up to join me, one thing that you can understand what I'm saying, being Scottish as well. But I noticed you in the pen there with the stars, the other stars of British cycling, Jason Kenny being there, Truman. What are they thinking? Because you know that's a big battle. You've got Truman 1-0 up. Jason Kenny, it's the national title, but it's important. We've already seen Laura, his wife, gain a national title and see the joy in her face at winning that. You know, is Jason feeling any pressure? When you consider that there are only 2 riders under 10 seconds yesterday, 9.8 for Truman, which is a fantastic time, and 9.9 for Kenny. What do you think's going through their minds? I think Jason might be a little bit disappointed with his pace. I think he probably expected to qualify a bit faster than that. But the truth is like the World Championships aren't far away. They're coming up in March, and anyone that's pitching for that sprint position and maybe hasn't done the performances they would have liked in the World Cups or the European Championships, this is really the last chance to see how they stack up against the competition. So the pressure's there. I remember for the first round I was standing down there by the start line, and both the riders had their eyes shut. They were getting focused, visualising their race, so it means a lot to them. Just talk us through that preparation, because we see a lot of the riders with their earphones on. I know they're sitting pretty much next to each other in the pen, in the infield, but they've got their earphones on. What is that process? What sort of kind of music, and you personally, what was the last track that you used to listen to? There's a bit of a funny kind of power match that goes on down there. You'll have all the riders sitting next to each other. You quite often see the camera panning along in major championships, especially in the Keirin. You'll see them select which lots you get. Some people like to sit there with their headphones on and their helmets on with their visor down, saying nothing at all. Some people like to laugh and make a joke. Some people like to sit that little bit too close to you, just to try and put you off. So it's a funny old atmosphere, and sometimes the race can be won or lost just before you get out of your seat and get onto that track. But for me, music plays a big part in it. It's about getting your mindset in the right place. It's about dropping all those other distractions and just having your mind on the job at hand and getting on with it, basically. We've just seen the points race result flash up here. Reece Britton, 35 points. Matt Walsh, one of the pre-race favourites, 31. Kyle Gordon, a Scot. Do you know much about Kyle? I do. I've shared a house with him at the Commonwealth Games. He's a great character. If not to plug my own YouTube channel, but we've got some great vlogs involving Kyle Gordon and a set of spoons. He's quite talented musically. But no, that's a great result from the other two boys at the top. You know, they're both in the academy program, which is essentially the kind of feeder program to the main Olympic team. So for them to come away with a first and second, and then for Kyle to come there with a third, having not been part of any professional setup, is quite a good result, and that's definitely, you know, taking a few scalps in that race.
And talking about the Scots, you get to go to the Commonwealth Games and represent your country. You know, it's important to us. But being here from the start of the National Championships, the difference the Chris Hoy Arena is doing in Glasgow, we're seeing it here. I think yesterday we saw some great results of the Scots in both para and obviously in able-bodied normal cycling, but here again we're seeing another good result. Mark Stewart was one of the favourites here, and now we're seeing Kyle Gordon, so we are starting to see the progression of a lot of these Scottish riders.
No, you definitely are, and I think you know, back when Meadowbank was essentially the only, you know, wooden banked outdoor track in the country, that's when, you know, Scotland still
I've
had
still got Meadowbank splinters in my backside.
Have you? I made the old bits into a table. But no, it's Scotland used to have an amazing pedigree, especially when it came to sprint cycling. But now it's gone a bit, you know, since the opening of Glasgow. That's what's really kind of brought through that next field of riders. I remember when I first moved down to Manchester Velodrome, once Chris Hoy retired, Craig went to the para team, and Ross Edgar retired, I was the only able-bodied Scot sprinter endurance that was on the team. And you look at the turnaround we have now with the likes of Mark Stewart, Katie Archibald, John Archibald really knocking at the door, I'm sure we've seen this week. You know, Kyle Gordon put in some strong performances. Like that pedigree is really coming back, and it's great to see that flourish again, and that's really as a result of the facilities. I think everyone saw the knock-on effect that Manchester had. It brought in the likes of Jason Kenny most famously, and Derby's brought through the KGF guys. It shows that facilities are really one of the key things to pushing through results, and Glasgow's got its fair share of big names to follow that. And
now we're seeing velodromes pretty much all over the country. Wales have got their own in Newport. There's one in London now. Manchester still popular. You know, it's still the home of British cycling. And you know, I was talking to Neil Facky. He's pushing for one up in Aberdeen. The new Facky on behalf of Neil and yeah, the Facky drum. Well, I never said that. You know, I said Neil Facky, but it could be Mr. and Mrs. Facky's.
It could be, yeah, exactly.
But yeah, the riders are lining up. The Derny in the back straight. 6 laps of the track in this semi-final A draw. Jessica Crampton, Emma Finnegan, Stephanie Hall, Serena Nat, and Charlotte Robinson and Joanna Smith. The first 3 will go through to the final, and rules have changed in the Keirin over the last few years. Do you think it's for the better?
Well, now the rules are that the riders have to pull off in the same order that they're lined up on the track. Quite often you might see an early crash where a rider tries to cut someone up to gain position, but now it's a bit of a ceremony for the first 3 laps, which I think is probably of detriment to the event. But what I was going to say is, just to show how much this can mean to the riders, if you look at the person in the white shirt holding up that rider in the green, that's national sprint coach Justin Grace, holding up, I'm not sure who that is particularly. Have we got a number on that one?
That'll be Jessica Crampton.
Jessica Crampton. So that shows that, you know, Jessica was on the team previously, but it just shows that we've got the big coaches down here looking to see some big performances and maybe looking who's going to be on their team sheet going forward.
In fact, my mistake is actually Charlotte Robinson, our teammate, and Jessica Crampton, the reigning champion, is just to her right. So 3rd from the hoardings at the top is the reigning champion Jessica Crampton, but she's got her own teammate there, and as you said, a couple of big shoves here.
Yeah, the importance of the shove again is one of the things we've maybe lost a little bit with the rule change. I think some coaches used to pride themselves on it with more or less falling over with the amount of effort they put in there.
So the Derny coming round, and the riders will go in behind. The Derny will stay just below the sprinters' red line. They'll get in order now. So they've already picked that order in the infield, and they'll stay in this order. They'll follow this Derny. The Derny will go from 25 kilometres an hour to 45 for females, so slightly faster for the males. 6 laps and it'll peel off in the home straight with 3 laps to go.
Now, one of the big changes we're seeing in the major races as well is they've started introducing electric dernies, which obviously changes the look and feel of the race a little bit. I remember when I was starting out and you smell that two-stroke oil, you hear that engine burbling into life, and that's what really gets you going. Yeah,
is talking about dernies, is Davy Urquhart still kicking around? Yeah,
yeah, he is. Yeah, he taught me. He got me my derny licence.
So yeah, the derny there, and Fiona Kane of the CT on form team just sitting behind. Joanna Smith at the back there for the Thanet racing team, and it will just wind the speed up. So the derny will peel off now. Top 3 going through to the final. The losers will go through to the ride-off for 7th to 12th.
I think the riders are looking to see what Jess Crampton does here. She's definitely the marked one in this race.
Very much looks like that, isn't it? Just waiting for her to go. And she's just sitting back. She's moving down the outside. The rider moving up in the white and the green. She's moving down the outside. Her teammate at the back now. She still takes control at the front. She did this in the previous round. She likes to ride from the front.
You've got to take control if no one else is going. You've only got so much time.
So 1 lap to go. And reigning champion Jessica Crampton takes it on from the front. Joanna Smith tailing up from Thanet racing team. Robinson also from Sports City coming over the top. Can she make it a double for Sports City? So an easy win for Crampton, and Sports City get 2 going through to the final. Charlotte Robinson, and a good ride there for Joanna Smith. We'll just wait for confirmation on that, but Jessica Crampton looking strong, eh?
Yeah, really good ride from Jess. You know, that's basically what you're taught to do. If you're the marked person, you look, and if there's no reaction, then you take charge and you take it at the front.
Yep, perfect there, and maybe learned a few things from her brother, eh?
Maybe, yeah. He's actually, I think I can say this, he's off to Australia as a coach now. And that was actually Jess's dad that was holding it up there, so it's a bit of a cycling fraternity in the track cycling world.
No, it's nice to see our older brother, Matt Crampton, obviously running in the jeans. Nice to see Jessica Crampton taking that one. She took it on from the front before. It worked. She did it again, and it worked to good effect.
I think what's really impressive as well is that I believe Jess works, full time now, and to see her maintain this level now as well. She works down south. I bumped into her in the train the other day actually, but to see her maintain that level is really quite impressive. Some of these riders she might be competing against here will be semi or full time. So for her to command that race as she did is really impressive.
For some people that kind of suits them. I know some people like keeping busy. Others do not like doing anything. They like to.
Well, like Mark Cavendish can't sit still to save his life, can he?
That's why he's got 3 residencies, 3
homes.
Yeah. He keeps going from one to the other, and he doesn't like sitting still. That's completely what he's like, but he gets bored very quickly.
I remember the Olympic Games and the World Championships, I'm like, this guy never sits still for more than a minute. He's up and off and doing all kinds of stuff. Yeah, but it's about what suits everyone. It's about finding what works for you and sticking with that, isn't it?
Exactly. Some people just don't like their own company, sitting down doing nothing. Others like to get out there and do something, just keep their mind ticking.
It's good you didn't fall in the splinter stereotype there.
Yes, exactly. I just remember in Meadowbank sitting there with tartan blankets all around me trying to keep warm as the track dried.
Yeah, it's a common pastime.
So into semi-final B, Yolanda Adesida, Lauren Bell, Emily Capewell, Ellie Coster, Rebecca Howard and Sophie Lankford. So again, a derny in the back straight. The signal is up. The derny starts. So you've got your derny licence?
I do, yeah. I'm a full motorbike licence. No, I couldn't ride it in a race, but I can use it in training. It's different categories, you see.
So here he comes, the derny pacer. The gun will go. And Emily Capewell in the purple at the bottom. Gaps starting to appear already. So the top 3 going through to the final later on this evening. The other 3 going through to the minor final, 7 to 9.
This will all bunch up now here as they all kick back. That's going to really disadvantage the riders at the back. It takes, what people maybe don't realise, is it takes so much energy to brake because all that braking force comes from your legs. So they'll be looking to sit in, keep calm, and just try and save as much energy as they can now for when the bike pulls off. Women's racing's starting to get quite a kind of better recognition in the Keirin. We just in Japan they have a pro racing Keirin scene. In the last couple of years they've started that with the women as well. And we've sent Becky James over there and Katie Marchant. We've all had quite good success, but the men's scene over there has been running for years and years and years and steeped in tradition. And it's one of the few sports you can actually bet on in Japan. So it's good to see the women's scene growing.
I've been impressed with the women's racing here at the National Championships. Some of the best I've seen. A lot of strength and depth. And the Dernies pulled off a bit of jostling. And in the last round, Ellie Costa rode well for Team Wales.
Yeah, I'd say Costa is the favourite here.
Yeah, she just moved up to third place. And she's following the Velotech rider Langford. So just keeping out of trouble on the outside. Unfortunately, the rider on the inside getting swamped a little bit now, no way out. So Costa riding a good race there, just looking around top three. So she just has to try and save a little bit. She's in contention now. Moving down the outside, so making an effort in the last 100, 150 metres. She doesn't have to win, just have to make sure she's in the top three, and there she goes. Top three will go through. Langford was in there. So, smart move, and from where I'm standing, Jessica Crampton and Ellie Costa could be battling it out in the final here.
Yep, nice controlled ride from Ellie there. You can see her looking over their shoulder and making sure she wasn't going to get swamped. And then as soon as that attack was coming from the outside, she took control, went to the front and made sure she was through safely. So nice ride from her.
Yep, well in control there. Top three going through. And both Ellie Costa and Jessica Crampton impressing. Full results: Ellie Costa, Lauren Bell, Langford, Capewell, Adesida and Howard. So your top six. So we'll see Costa, Bell and Langford in the final. And now I think we'll move on to the sprint match B.
This is a big one. We'll see Alex Spratt move on to the track now, the man mountain himself.
Do you know much about Spratt?
He came out of nowhere. I think he came from rugby originally, yeah. He's been on the scene about 2 years now and definitely been setting the scene alive with his size and pace. And I think what's going to be the major stride for him going forward, I mean, just look at the size of him there. His major stride going forward is going to be trying to tidy himself up tactically. So he's got a good coach there, Pete Mitchell, current tandem rider in the GB team. Will be doing his best to help him out. And then we've also got Hamish here, one of the academy riders again. So he's one of the guys who's trying to break through into that podium team and get himself into the big events. Two
different physiques, and we see this quite often. In the past, a lot of the sprinters were like Spratt, but now look at Jason Kenny compared to Chris Hoy. Totally different riders, and Spratt here. You know, is it all about? Obviously you need the leg power, but is it all about bulk?
It's moving that way a little bit more. We used to have Tio Boss is actually back in the scene and doing really well, but the scene used to be defined by a kind of Tio Boss kind of shape. Tio Boss is a rider who's obviously had some success on the road as well, but has now decided to switch back to track. We had the likes of Kevin Saru, Chris Hoy, Matt Crampton, all kind of taller, lankier riders. What we're starting to see now is the emergence of essentially bodybuilders on bikes. You know, guys who can push gears up to 140 inches, get it off the track, get it up to pace, and they're pretty unstoppable once they are up there.
Yes, indeed. And Spratt leads the way, and he's got all to do. In the first match, he was beaten by Hamish, a turnaround from last year. Been impressed actually by the way that Spratt is ridden, and Turnbull decides that he wants to take it on from the front.
Taking control nice and early. He's got a good gap actually. If he did commit here, he should be okay.
Yeah, well, it looks as if he's committing. How much is Spratt left? How much does he want it? He's coming. So this is a full-on sprint for a lap and a half, and I'm not too sure Spratt has got it. He's trying as hard as he can, but too much. So the element of surprise there by Hamish Turnbull. 2-0. So for the young man, that was impressive.
That was. I think he really played to his strengths there. He knew Alex Spratt, big guy, big gear, and the downside of having a big gear is you can't get it going as fast. So Hamish played to his strengths there. He went on that acceleration, got that lighter frame up to speed, and you never see him again.
Yeah, for those, I don't often like talking about gears. We talk about this in the road, but you know, what sort of gears of a difference do you think they're riding out there?
It's really hard to say from the naked eye, but you'd say Hamish is maybe on something like roughly 110, 112, and Spratt could be on something like 135 or something around that range.
That's a big difference.
A big difference. But you know, that's what sprinting's all about. It's about playing to your strengths. If you're a guy who's going to go pretty quick off the top, get it up to speed, you need a big gear. If you're someone that's a bit more punchy and a bit lighter, you want to go smaller.
And if you were going qualifying, you would gear up for the qualifying, flying 200, and then come down the gears in the sprints.
So one of the important things about the qualifying is there's no other rider to get in the way. It's just you and the track, and most riders try and go as big as they possibly can, within reason, to try and get the best time they possibly can, and that's what we would have seen earlier on.
So unlike the women's sprints yesterday, and it went to a decider, the first bronze medal will go to Hamish Turnbull. Turn around from last year where Spratt was in thirds and Hamish Turnbull was in fourth, but now we're on to the match with Jason Kenny and Truman, with Jason Kenny 1-0 down. So Jason Kenny needs to win this one, Callum.
He certainly does. I've been in this position twice before, 3 times actually, I think. Came away with a gold on 2 occasions, so I know how much pressure is on these guys right now. There's you know, we
Who's
train.
the most pressure?
Who's got the most pressure? Well, I'd say Jason. It has to be Jason, I think.
But what
you know,
about,
with the pedigree that he's got.
But what about Truman? Truman must feel he's never really been here before.
It's a really funny one. I say that one of the interesting things is we train with each other day in, day out. We know what each other's strengths are, and we kind of know the way that we're taught and the way that we're coached to ride races as well. So this can often be one of the trickiest races of the year you'll end up doing.
This is for the national title. Jason Kenny needs to win this one to take it to a decider, but Truman has already shown his class. 0.1 of a second quicker in qualifying. You're talking about tactics. You know each other. Would you try and change anything now that you're 1-0 up? Would you try something a bit different?
I think we'll probably see Jason going on a slightly bigger gear, trying to get that speed up a little bit quicker. I think in the first round it was a little bit slower compared to some of the semis, so he's going to be trying to get this going. Yeah,
it looks as if he is. He's pushing, and it looks as if Truman wants to take this one from the front. Jason Kenny all the time looking for height.
You look how much he's investing there. So much power from the top that he's about to cash in as he comes down.
Yeah, Truman holding up. Now he commits. 200 metres to go. Not 100%, but Jason Kenny has to win this one. A drag race down the back straight. I don't think Kenny's got it. He goes into the slipstream. Truman's got this one. Gold, and the new British champion goes to Joe Truman. Jason Kenny will have to settle for second place there. And your thoughts on that?
Very good ride from Joe. I actually thought the amount that the Olympic champion was investing at the top of the track, you saw how much effort Jason put in, and with the 1 lap to go. And usually for us, that's a real danger sign. If you see someone at the top of the track giving it absolutely anything, and especially if it's Jason Kenny, you know you're in trouble. So for Joe to fend that off, did a really good job of getting Jason straight on his wheel, taking away his gap. And from that point on, the race was really Joe's.
Yeah, super effort there. And it just goes to show you, when you're on form, you're on form. 0.1 of a difference in qualifying is quite a large gap, and he used that to his advantage. And also the motivation, he wants to be national champion. As you say, it's all about selection. We've had this before in Great Britain's cycling team, you know, famously between Jason Kenny and Chris Hoy in the past.
Yeah, and that's got pretty dicey in the past. You'll see there's no love lost between them when they get on the track. It was a few dodgy manoeuvres, cutting each other up, and really just trying to make the most of it. What we saw today was a little bit more good-natured, but you know, it just shows that what's at stake. It means a lot to these guys. And Jason's not a kind of guy who would have been afraid to take it to 3 either. So he was going in there to win that race. So he'll definitely be disappointed to be coming away with the silver, and to have got silver in 2 rides instead of 3 as well.
And just to finish off, I know you'll want to go away now and join your chums in the fields, but you say Jason Kenny will be disappointed, but he keeps on coming back every 4 years. He
does, and everyone knows that Jason Kenny's event is the Olympic Games, and I'd say you'd be a fool to count him out for that. And it's something that, you know, many great sprinters over the years have scratched their head about, most notably Gregory Boge, who basically just doesn't know how Jason does it. He'll be someone who might have continual kind of Well, I say he's been a world champion a few times as well, but you might have a couple of disappointing results, and he just comes back every 4 years, like clockwork, setting the world on fire. I mean, let's not forget, Jason Kenny set an Olympic record at the Rio 2016 Olympic Games in the 200 metre qualifying. He was going fast with a 9.5 second qualifying for the 200, and I'm sure we'll see something amazing when it comes down to Tokyo as well.
And your final thoughts on what you've seen so far before you leave us here in the commentary box?
I think we've seen some really good racing tonight. I think my favourite is probably the women's scratch, seeing Katie trying to take a lap and then that mass sprint towards the end. That's what everyone wants to see. They want to see really, close racing, hard-fought battles, and that's what looks good, I guess. I think what's building with British cycling year on year is that strength and depth. Especially in that women's endurance team, there's a whole bunch of individuals there who could go on to win at World Cups and World Championships, and it's really tough to pick them apart sometimes. So to see that strength and depth build, we're seeing it in the men's sprint as well. It's just incredible. And then you have the outsiders, the likes of Team Hoob Wattbike, not Wattbike, that was last year. Team Hoob Haveline or something like that.
Hoob Wattbike test team.
That's it. Yeah. To see that happening on the domestic scene as well, it's a really good time to be involved in British cycling.
Exactly. Well, we'll let you go. Thanks for your input and best of luck.
Thank you very much. Enjoy your next couple of hours of commentating, Brian.
Okay, thanks to Callum. It's nice to have an expert and great insight into the world of sprinting, both female and male. But now we head to the medal ceremony of the female scratch race. And we've got 3 heroes on the podium. Fantastic event we had earlier on today. So the National Scratch Race Championship medals to be presented by Rod Finlay, the Director of Integrity and Compliance at British Cycling. And what a podium we have. She tried to win it by going on the attack. And Katie Archibald, after winning the pursuit yesterday, bronze medal in the sprint, another bronze medal today in the scratch race. Good effort by Eleanor Barker. So Eleanor Barker takes a silver medal. Coming up late, but it was Emma Trott, super happy to win the national title. It timed it to perfection. She did what she had to do. She hides away so well in these type of races. So a fantastic podium, great advert for women's cycling here in the UK. The flowers being presented by Tina Fisher, a British cycling member. So a great race, great finish. They know each other very well through their team pursuit exploits. So there you have it. Katie Archibald in the bronze. Eleanor Barker in the silver, and champion this year, Laura Trott. So after all that excitement, we still get some to come. We'll soon move on to the Keirin and the finals, the ride off for 7th to 8th first. And then we get the ride off for the medals. So some super racing to finish the evening. Don't forget, you can still get involved here at the HSBC National Championships here in Manchester. Social media, #TrackChamps. It's been a great session this morning and today. Great insights from Neil Faki and Barney Story. And talking about the champions we have, I believe that Rebecca has been talking to the winner of the scratch race, Laura Trott.
Thanks as ever, Dave. Now, you're no stranger, of course, to gold medals and stripy jumpers, but what does it mean to take this in front of your home crowds where you train every day?
Oh, it's amazing. You know, like you say, we train here day in, day out, so to come here to have a crowd like this is fantastic, and the support here is always great. So I guess thanks for everybody to staying to watch us race.
Talk us through that finish, because it was hard fought every step of the way today.
I mean, the whole race was a really good race, you know. It was so open. Like at the start, you didn't know whether people were going to attack or leave it to a sprint. I mean, obviously, I wanted it to be a sprint. But then when Jenny was away, I was thinking, oh, who's going to take this on? Because, you know, it was 2 laps to go. So when Katie came over, I was like, oh, thank God, I can just sit on now and then give it my all for the sprint, which is what I did. So I was obviously pleased that Katie decided to take it on.
And where can the fans watch you race next? What's next for you?
Well, I'm racing again tomorrow, and then after that, we don't actually race until the World Championships, which it starts at the end of Feb in Poland.
Thank you so much for chatting to us. Once again, congratulations!
Laura Kenny, the winner of the women's scratch race, makes it sound easy. But sometimes a race comes to you if you remain patient, and she's one of the world's best at that. Finds herself in the right place at the right time. And sometimes it does come down to patience. So the Derny just getting ready. So we have the final 2 races of the evening. The first will be the 7th to 12th ride-off in the women's Keirin, and then the battle for the medals in the final. So I hope you've enjoyed the racing here on day 2 of the National Championships here in Manchester. As you see from the pictures, plenty of people enjoying themselves, and you can too. Get involved, hashtag Track Champs. Where else would you be on a Saturday evening? Mixing it with the stars. A great atmosphere always at Manchester, and great that British Cycling are showing and streaming these national championships. So the riders now lining up for the 7th to 12th. Yolanda Adesida, she'll go into position 1. Emily Capewell from Loughborough Students, Emma Finnegan, CT on form. Then we go Stephanie Hall, Rebecca Howard, Serena Nat. So the Derny will come around. Once the commissaire gives the signal. So this is the ride-off for 7th to 12. These are the losers of the semi-final, but all important to where you finish in these championships. An important experience for some of these riders. So just a pause while we make sure the scoreboard is set. And there you go, 6 laps. So just taking a bit of time for the scoreboards to set itself. Just checking everything's okay. The green lights, and the Derny will now start. Pick up the riders. And they'll do 3 laps, taking the riders up to 45 kilometres an hour. And then it'll be game on. So there you go. Adesida will lead the way. All the riders just getting into formation. So Adesida, Capewell, Finnegan, Hall, Howard and Nat. So where do you want to finish in the National Championships? 7th to 12th up for grabs. So the Derny still winding things up. So 1 lap to go until the Derny will peel off. Adesida still just following the Derny bike. All the riders in one line, but this will change very soon. Of course, the Derny, no reaction. Just getting into position. No real favourite, so nobody to look for. Bit of reaction down the outside, but nobody taking it on. This is a very cautious approach now. But over the top, Stephanie Hall in the black, but still below. Emma Finnegan is leading out. So this is for 7th to 12th. Finnegan now goes, opening up a small gap. So it looks as if she's looking for 7th place. Some riders now sitting up, but Finnegan, she'll take 7th place. Moving up there, and it's Stephanie Hall taking 8th place. It's a good effort there by Finnegan, making the best of it. She'll be happy to take that victory there, which will give her 7th in the National Keirin Championships here in the Manchester Velodrome. We'll just tidy that result up. Finnegan, Stephanie Hall goes into 8th. 9th is Nat, 10th is Adesida, 11th Howard and Capewell into 12th. So that's your 7th to 12th there. And that makes way to the final. And a different affair altogether. The reigning champion, Jessica Crampton, involved with the final. One of the other favourites, Ellie Costa for Team Wales. This is the battle for the medals, gold, silver and bronze. So here we see from the highlights, it was a cagey affair, but Finnegan wanted to hold the front. She opened up the gap to everybody else. Stephanie Hall hung on for 8th place. So the final events, but stay with us because we have the medal ceremonies to come. The male points race, the female Keirin, and the men's sprint. So the final for gold, silver and bronze in the female, Keirin, Lauren Bell, Ellie Costa, Jessica Crampton, Sophie Langford, Charlotte Robinson and Joanna Smith. So at the bottom of the track, you get Jessica Crampton, and you heard from Callan Skinner being held up by her father. Her brother Matt's moving over to Australia cycling. Such is the success of British cycling. So Jessica Crampton, the rider on the bike. She likes to take it on from the front. So nice and settled. Ellie Costa just behind, and Ellie Costa will want to follow Jessica Crampton. But we've seen so far Jessica Crampton wants to take these Keirins on from the front to keep out of trouble. But Ellie Costa doesn't mind. She's come from behind in the last two Keirins to take the win and force her way into the final. So the next time round we'll see the Derny pull off. Ellie Costa just looking behind. She's leaving a bit of a gap, a bit of space in front of her, bit of safety space. She's just waiting for someone to go over the top, and it's not. Jessica Crampton on the front, Costa behind. Then we have Smith in third place, Robinson for Sports City Velo starting to move up down the outside, but it's still Crampton. Here comes Robinson. Costa still in there. So here we go, down the back straight, still Crampton, Robinson, Costa. A move down the outside. Here we go, one lap to go. Crampton, Costa, Robinson trying to go the long way, but it's Crampton from the front. Costa is still in there. Smith for Thanet Racing Team, but it's going to be Crampton or Costa. Crampton and Costa the whole way. Crampton, Costa, and Crampton takes that one. Half a wheel in the end, and Jessica Crampton retains her title. A valiant effort from Elia Costa from Team Wales. So Jessica Crampton looking strong the whole way through this competition, retains her national title. Very happy with that one. Taking it on from the front. Big effort from Ellie Costa to try and come over the top, but it wasn't to be. So she will have to settle for the silver medal. So an excellent performance there, retaining her title. It's Jessie Crampton, not the easiest thing to do, but she's looked strong throughout this competition. So please stick around to see the medals. These national championship medals deserve your support, even in the medal ceremonies. So please stay with us for the men's points race ceremony. So please stay. We've got 3 medal ceremonies back to back. The men's points race. The females, Keirin, we've just seen that, retaining her title. Jessica Crampton. In the men's sprints, a new national champion, Joe Truman. So please stay, show your support. So the medal ceremony just about to get going here for the men's points race. So I hope you've enjoyed the action here.
Ladies and gentlemen, the medal ceremony for the 2019 HSBC UK British Cycling National Track Championships men's points race.
So the medal ceremony for the men's points race. And presenting the medals is Richard Lodge, British Cycling Board member and chair of British Track Cycling. And winner of the bronze medal, Kyle Gordon. Silver medalist, Matthew Walls. And the winner of the men's points race, a new national champion, Rhys Britton. And presenting the flowers, Isaac and Ruben Donini, both British Cycling members. So there you have it, the podium for the men's points race. Kyle Gordon in bronze, Matthew Walls in second, and the winner, Rhys Britton. Three happy people, some great racing in the points race. And a new national champion. And moving on swiftly, we've only just finished the final for the women's Keirin's medal ceremony. We're just about to commence in the women's Keirin's medal ceremony. Straight off the boards.
Ladies and gentlemen, the medal ceremony for the 2019 HSBC UK British Cycling National Track Championships Women's Keirin competition. Please welcome our medal presenter, Richard Lodge, and board member and chair of the British Cycling Track Commission.
And presenting the medals is again Richard Lodge, British Cycling Board Member and Chair of British Track Cycling Commission. And the bronze medalist is Joanna Smith from Thanet's Racing Team. The silver medal going to a brave performance there from Team Wales. That's Ellie Coster. But defending her title, Jessica Crampton, taking it on from the front. So Jessica Crampton, back-to-back titles. And she seems relieved at retaining her title. And the flowers again being presented by Isaac and Ruben Donini, British Cycling members. So there you go, a podium for the women's Keirin. Joanna Smith in bronze, Ellie Costa in silver, and your winner for the second year, Jessica Crampton, and well deserved. And moving on to the men's sprint medal ceremony.
The medal ceremony for the 2019 HSBC UK British Cycling National Track Championships.
And the final medal ceremony of today, the men's sprints. And presenting the medals, Rod Finlay, Director of Integrity and Compliance at British Cycling. So in third place, in the bronze medal, developing talent Hamish Turnbull. And second, and silver medalist Jason Kenny. But the winner and new national champion Joseph Truman set the fastest time in qualifying just after 9 o'clock this morning. So from start to finish, he's been the fastest rider in the men's sprints. Presenting the flowers, Tina Fisher, our British Cycling member. So some great racing we've seen of the last 2 days. Don't forget, you can join us tomorrow for some more action. So your final medalists of the evening: in bronze, Hamish Turnbull, Jason Kenny, and winner, Joseph Truman. Thank you for joining us here. I'm just going to throw over to Rebecca, who's going to say her goodbyes.
Like that, how could you not have? Remember, stay involved in British cycling, both on the track, on the road, and on social media as well. It's been a pleasure to have you. We'll speak to you again soon. Good night.
Well, it's good night from Dave and some thank yous from him, but I would actually like to say a huge thank you to Dave and Marty, who've been absolutely fantastic throughout the entirety of today. Now, one more thank you from me. Thank you all for coming out and supporting all the riders tonight. I know a lot of you have travelled very far to get here, and what a night it's been. Now, if you're not going to be with us in the velodrome tomorrow, we'll be back live streaming on the British Cycling website, britishcycling.org.uk, and also over on Facebook. So make sure you tune in or be back in here where the action is happening. But for now, let's leave you with highlights of what has been a brilliant day.